Headlines powered by Joyce Cooling and Heating in Nashua, now offering plumbing and electrical services. Enjoy 10% off your next electrical job, but hurry, it has to be completed by April 30th. Restrictions apply. Schedule now at joycecooling.com. Last night, the Patriots drafted Utah left tackle Caleb Lomu, trading up from number 31 to 28th overall in a deal with Buffalo that cost them one of their 2 fourth-round picks. Lomu is a 21-year-old left tackle who started the past 2 seasons and didn't allow a sack last year. Elliott Wolf said Lomu can play anywhere across the offensive line, including right tackle, where the Patriots could soon replace Morgan Moses, 35. Wolf reiterated, though, that Will Campbell, last year's first-round pick, remains the team's starting left tackle. Tonight, the Patriots are scheduled to make selections in the second round at number 63 overall and in the third round at 95th overall. Wolf is again expected to speak at the end of day 2, while Mike Vrabel may not be heard from with the media for another month. Prior to last night's first round, Vrabel shared he intends to seek counseling starting this Saturday when he will be out of town with his family, but available to the Patriots when they are scheduled to make 8 draft picks. His comments followed the release of 3 additional intimate photos between him and former NFL insider Diana Rossini at a New York City bar in 2020. The photos came courtesy of Page 6, which had the original story showing the two of them at an adults-only resort in Arizona last month. Said Vrabel, quote, "I take accountability for my actions and the actions that cause a distraction to the people that I care about most. My family, this football team, the organization, and our fans. My previous actions don't meet the standard that I hold myself to." Vrabel then answered 5 questions, putting us at 4 statements and 5 questions taken, and still so many questions to go over the past couple of weeks. Though NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, hitting softballs off a tee in a pre-draft interview with ESPN, said this is a personal matter and not a part of the personal conduct policy that the NFL has. Elsewhere, the Bruins lost home ice advantage by dropping a 3-1 decision in Game 3 of their first-round series with the Sabres last night at TD Garden. Buffalo scored 2 third-period goals after Victor Arvidsson missed a penalty shot that could have put Boston up 2-0. Game 4 is set for Sunday in Boston. The Celtics are back in action tonight for Game 3 in Philadelphia. The series is tied at 1-1. The Celtics slated as 7.5-point road favorites. And the Red Sox saw a ray of light shoot through the darkness that is their ongoing 2026 season. Peyton Tolley struck out 11 in 6 innings, allowing just 1 earned run in his season debut, though the Sox lost, falling 4-2 to the Yankees, who left town with a season sweep. I'm Andrew Callahan from 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next headlines coming in about 30 minutes.
What you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
Yes, I finally shaved my nuts.
And Hardy.
Who, me?
Just hanging around.
On 98.5.
Pinkerman, heard about you.
Yeah.
We're Costco guys. Of course we go shopping while eating a chicken bake.
That's gross. Not a great cook, but I do cook.
When I asked him about the sides.
Kick them in the balls.
I don't care about it, but it's not good behavior.
Blaze Bailey is omitted.
Toucher and Hardy.
We're the best friends that can be, my buddy and me.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. That's my Fred impersonation, which I don't know if it's good or not. I just do it every time I'm on the morning show.
I didn't know who you were doing.
Oh, you did? Oh, that's how bad it is.
I didn't say it's bad. I was like, okay, he's doing something. Who's this?
Yeah, Fred's always like, good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Okay, there we go. I got it now.
Yeah,
second time around, I got it.
Okay, all right, I'll do better. I'll do better next time. That's the voice of Michael Hawley. And shout out to Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald, who is doing all the work today. He is the super utility guy. And I mean that in the most positive way possible. He can do it all. He's an analyst, and now he's an update anchor today on 98.5 The Sports
Very
Hub.
well written. A very well written, well thought out update.
I needed it today.
You brought me in. It had a lead. It had a nut graph. We had quotes, and we had a good conclusion. Very well done.
See, I thought you weren't paying attention because you guys were enjoying good conversation to the side.
Radio, man. We can multitask. I heard it. I heard you. I heard you over there.
Joe, you needed me more than you know because you kindly sent over the script you had written, expecting to do headlines yourself today. Where did Caleb Lomu go to school?
Utah, right?
Yeah. Joe Murray last night, or whenever he wrote this, put Texas Tech.
Oh, great.
So I got this. Hang out, Joe Murray of not Texas Tech. And we'll be all right.
Utah, Whittingham, right, was the coach.
You got a question about Kyle Whittingham last night.
Yeah, he moved to where? Michigan?
Yes.
Yep.
That's right.
I want to say Desmond Dampierre was the quarterback at Utah, threw 23 touchdowns last year. They went 11-2.
Come on.
Mike,
Come on.
Utah was especially at Utah. Oh, baby, they were favorites.
Why do you know that?
Yeah.
Why do you know that?
I watch a lot of college football. I mean, I'll bet on the Degenerate Special, Hawaii. Always in on that game.
11 p.m.
Yep. A MAC special. Give me the MACtion, baby. Like when people were talking Toledo the other day, I'm like, yep, I know that guy. Toledo.
He's still on the board, right? The safety from Toledo?
I do have a funny
supposed
story.
To be a first rounder. He's still on the board.
Years ago, when N'Keal Harry was drafted, I was very positive of N'Keal Harry because Manny, now I can't remember the quarterback's name, but I was hard on Manny. I'll look him up. Well, Manny comes and finds me on Twitter and goes, "Why are you dogging me, man?" Because I said N'Keal Harry was really good despite a bad quarterback in college. And, Manny found me.
So the quarterback at Arizona State.
I'll find his name.
Finds you. It says, "Why are you talking about me on Boston radio?"
Correct. And Twitter. But yes, I thought N'Keal Harry was like this great athlete, which he was. He just wasn't a wide receiver. But they would just throw, moonballs to him, and N'Keal Harry would make every single play. But the quarterback, Manny, not good. But again, now we look back at it, either was N'Keal Harry.
It was N'Keal Harry. I remember when they drafted N'Keal Harry. Do you remember the comps? You remember this, Callahan? The comps N'Keal Harry had when he was drafted? Anquan Bolden. Like, he's Anquan. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's Anquan Bolden. Big guy. Look at this catch he makes. Contested catch guy. Oh, you're going to love him. Just big body. Okay. Yeah. But why don't I see any separation even in college? He's not separating from anybody. So, but that, I think that's how most college wide receivers are. You can't really tell how it translates to the league because they got about 3 or 4 games against a really good competition and a bunch of games against guys where all you got to do is throw a wide receiver screen. They get in space. Are they wide receivers? Are they running backs? Are they gadget guys? You really don't know. And then the coverages in college football, it's a different game. It's a different world. The coverages are rarely complex. And so you see receivers get open against coverages that you're never going to see in the pros. And the windows aren't tight, so it's really hard. That's a tough position to evaluate for the pros.
So in retrospect, I think the comp should have been Daniel Graham. Big, slow. Probably should play tight end, not separating, because the games that you mentioned where they're playing lower competition, N'Keal Harry's like running away, and those were the only ones he had yards after catch, which was part of the scouting report. And I remember this my first year in the beat, so that was my first draft I had covered. They just won a Super Bowl. I'm right there at the top of the mountain being like, this rules. And I'm going, I didn't really like him that much. What do I do? So I listened to Nick Caserio, very compelling case, and I'm like, this is a good bet because Brady's accuracy's going down. You just throw it up to him. Then we hear, of course, years later, N'Keal goes to Tom's house, and they have that catch in the backyard. And that was the first sign of Tom going, oh, no. Then there were no defenders there. It was just the two of them playing catch. And Brady knew that afternoon, this is not going to go great. You know why he knew? Because you ever see that old clip of Tom Brady? I think he was doing something. It was like a 60 Minutes interview. And he said, hey, I can and it was Tom Brady and Deion Branch. You should see, this is great. It's like the interviewer says, all right, so you guys know what to do without even talking? He was like, yeah, look, he knows exactly what I'm going to do. I don't even have to say anything to him. And he gives Deion Branch a look, and Branch runs the route and does exactly what Brady wants. So I'm sure with N'Keal Harry, he was saying, okay, this is what I want you to do. And he couldn't even get it against air. He probably just wasn't able to process what Brady wanted him to do. I bet it was worse. I think he pulled up to the wrong house.
We've heard that.
The first directions that Tom gave him, he just couldn't find the driveway.
I didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah.
I never told you to do that.
There's significance of N'Keal Harry in Patriots history, though. That's when Bill started going against the scouting team, right? And Debo Samuel and A.J. Brown, if you want to go full circle on this.
Yeah.
Would love to.
They brought him in, and Bill, reportedly, we could talk to Bert about it later. He'll be in studio. I'm pretty sure that Bill thought, because they went together and didn't like how they were kind of having some fun or kind of, just jabbing each other. And he just called this guy Herm up at Arizona State and said, hey, what do you think of this guy? And Bill basically went rogue against the scouting team.
You know what I think, Joe? I think that was the time he did it where it was probably the one that last time was like, okay, this is enough, because he had done that. He's done that many times over the years where the scouts would say, hey, look at this guy, or we like him. And Bill would come in, he would just come in and he'd look at the board and he'd just change the board. So the scouts would put all this stuff together and come in and be like, nah, I don't like that guy, because he would look at all of them. He'd look at all the players and he had his own opinions. And then when it came down to, the final couple of weeks, he would switch it up. Now, sometimes it would work and to his advantage. I mentioned Deion Branch. Deion Branch was on what the Patriots call the backboard. So the backboard is for the scrubs or, undrafted free agents. So the scouts had Deion Branch on the undrafted free agents board in the scouting room. And Bill comes in and goes, no, this guy's way too productive. And he took his name off that backboard and put it on the front board and said, I like him a lot. So that turned out well for him, for a wide receiver who became a Super Bowl MVP. But he went to that well too often, and that was one of the things that brought him down.
Well, as being somebody in the war room, what do you think his hit rate was on that?
On switching things up? Not great. Not great toward the end. Like, even some of the players they drafted during the first part of the dynasty, some of the players they drafted, he wasn't too fired up about. I remember I was sitting there, and this is crazy. Not like he was a great player, but Dan Copen, the center.
Mm-hmm.
So Scott Pioli was like, hey, Bill, we should take this guy. I really like him. Guy from Boston College. I really like him. And Bill just has this look on his face. So finally, the guy in New York is at that time, they were in New York for the draft, Patriots representative. All right, hey, guys, what's the pick? What's the pick? Bill goes, Dan Copen, center, Boston College. I mean, he was pissed. He's like, I'll listen to you. I'll pick this guy in the 5th round, but I don't really love him all that much.
Do you ever tell Dan that story? I know you. I think you guys might have worked together, right? At some point.
I don't think I ever told Dan that.
Let's call him up.
Yeah.
Dan, happy Friday.
Hey Dan,
got some news for you.
You know what? I know you won some Super Bowls and you were Tom Brady's guy. He didn't want to pick you.
So why do I remember, and it probably was from Patriot Reign, some reference to Dan Copen having like the best hands among centers in that draft? Was this just, this worked out, let's go back and see what I saw?
Oh, you got a good memory. It was
because he was undersized. There had to be some plus skill.
You're so close. It's the guy in the next round. He wasn't a center. It was Klecko. Undersized, and they loved his hands. Played at what, Temple? They loved Klecko.
Texas Tech, Joe says.
Yes. Listen, I wrote that. I don't know when I wrote that last night.
Delirious with the Vegas flu over here.
I will tell you this, the whole full circle A.J. Brown, Vegas.
Sure.
I was coming home from Vegas a couple of years ago. Do you remember when N'Keal Harry caught the ball and went to reach out for a touchdown, but the ball went into the end zone for a touchback?
Right.
This was against the Chiefs.
Yep.
I was on the airplane coming home from Vegas that day, and we're all watching the Patriots game coming home from Vegas, and N'Keal Harry has the old touchback. That was the difference in the game. And I think in 2000, I remember doing post-game, Cam Newton had N'Keal Harry wide open for a first down against Denver to potentially win the game. And N'Keal Harry, I think dropped it. If I'm not mistaken, this was a Denver game in the COVID year with Cam Newton.
Yeah, see, I remember that Kansas City game because the Patriots weren't good, right? Mm-hmm. And this was at Gillette Stadium.
It was at Gillette, yep.
Close game. And there was another controversial play in that game. Didn't Travis Kelce kind of fumble, but they didn't call it a fumble?
Yes.
Wasn't that game? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, N'Keal Harry. There are the N'Keal Harry highlights and lowlights.
So things forgotten about that game was them flying to and from Kansas City same day, and then Brian Hoyer getting benched because they got into the red zone. There was a fumble, and I want to say a pick that took 6 points off the board. But defensively, they held Kansas City to 19 points. And I remember writing after the game going, oh, my God, this is another Bill masterpiece against Mahomes, because their defense had like Anthony Jennings playing inside linebacker. Josh Uche's running around, doesn't know what's happening. Kyle Duggar's a rookie at 36. And so the thing was about that game plan was they played so much with just a 3-man rush, and they were dropping 8. Fast forward. So 2020 happened, 2021. The Chiefs are hosting, of course, an AFC Championship game. They play the Bengals. The Bengals make this giant comeback in the second half and go to the Super Bowl and beat Kansas City. Well, what changed? They dropped 8 and played a lot more man in the same game plan that Belichick had done in this game that we forget in the haze of 2020. But there it was, all that success. So even when they were losing to the Chiefs, you're like, okay, the baton has been passed. There goes Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes into the distance. Patriots inhaling, choking on dust. Bill's still like, I could rein you back when I want to. Just drop 8.
Do you think he still has that?
Bill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think he still? Oh, you think so? He's got those chops. Where if you take away everything else, if you take away, okay, you're not going to have power over the draft. We're not going to let you sign free agents. But just go. Hey man, could you go into the lab? Could you go into the lab and just get us something? Could you just cook up something that nobody has really thought about? Here we go. Here's the assignment. This opponent, nobody's been able to slow this team down. Hey, why don't you just go in there, spend as much time as you need. We'll bring you some food, bring you some water. You just emerge with something different. Does he still have it? I think he does.
I think so, too.
I do. I think he still has that.
I think what he lost was everybody around him.
Yep.
And that's kind of the story of the Patriots was they were every year, right? They'd have success. They'd take somebody off the roster. And he got more control, right? And more ego. And I don't know. I don't know if he can do it at North Carolina, though. Like, he's going to need the personnel. I think in college you need players. You can have all the coaching you want,
100%.
It's also the assistant coaches that he's trained and raised, because they came in as pups, as you know. And then by the time they get to be a position coach, they're thinking like Bill. They're talking like Bill. And you're like, what happened to you? But they're doing exactly as Bill would. And, like, look, Jamie Collins is a super athletic player, fun to cover. Enjoyed him when I talked to him in 2019. I think he's down there. Don't have a lot of faith there. And didn't have a lot of faith in the assistants at the end here, even when their defense was pretty good. Like, offensively, he just picked the wrong guys because they were yes men. So I don't know if that's there anymore.
Yeah, I think Joe's right about college football. It's not about scheme. College football is rarely about scheme. As much as I love my Buckeyes, I can't sit here and tell you that, Ryan Day can just, he can beat you with his or he can beat you with yours. He's like that old cliche. No, he just said it recently in a podcast. Hey, if you come to Ohio State, you probably have to be a first or second rounder. Okay, that's what we expect. First and second rounders here, and we got to win most of our games. Because you're just getting all these blue chip guys. How many blue chip guys can you get? You get a bunch of blue chip guys, and you're playing teams in a lot of cases that have, all right, you got 10 blue chippers, they got 3. Okay, you're going to win. It's just you got more talented players than they have. That's what college football is.
I look at Deion Sanders, that first game he played, he had all those guys that were transfers and blue chips, and they won. They had a nice little run. And then once he started losing all those guys, he became Pac-12 now? What is he in? Big 10? I can't remember where
Big
they
12.
went. Big 12.
Yeah, I remember arguing Bert, who's going to be in here at 7 on TV about this. Well, Deion doesn't go on the road and recruit, because my point was like, you think 73-year-old Bill Belichick is going to come into your living room and just blow everyone away? Because that's the high energy recruiting life of a coach, and that's really the job, is just to assemble talent and pull it in. And I was like, well, Bill doesn't have a son who's playing quarterback. And then the Heisman Trophy winner is going to follow him from the other school coming up from Jackson State. The thing to me also is, thinking about Bill, I remember when he got the job, we had a 2 stats and a lie. And I want to run this by you, because I ran it by Mike Reese, who smoked me after I'd seen him after the show. Because, of course, I said the Patriots have never drafted a player from North Carolina after he had taken that job. And that was the lie. But can you remember a player that they took? Because this was more your time, Michael Holley.
A player that they took from North Carolina?
I got one.
Okay.
Is it defensive back Reed? DJ Reed? Did I have that right?
Close. And there's a receiver.
They took a receiver from North Carolina.
They did. That was later than the safety.
The safety, yeah. I'm thinking of that. I can't remember his name in particular.
Dexter Reed.
Oh, my God. Come on.
I remember Dexter Reed.
His friends call him DJ. That's my
DJ.
bad. I didn't mean to. I was too busy putting the pencil in my ear just to make Holly feel at home with Matt Patricia as defensive coordinator there at the Ohio State.
No, but you guys have been doing, like, Mike, you've been doing right. I used to have that in me. Where I could tell you who,
exactly.
like who the Portland Sea Dogs
somebody
was.
Somebody out there listening right now is like, oh, that's easy. That's so and so, and I'm like, I
don't have that in me anymore. I did once.
Don't even know. They took a receiver from North Carolina.
That was 5 years later, 2009. This player actually was, I think probably underwhelmed here, but had a. Nah, actually, he sucked.
All right, who is it? Who is it?
Brandon Tate.
Oh, yeah. Punt returner.
Yeah. Played with Hakeem Nicks.
Yeah.
Who, I think in the second round, Tate goes in the third round. And I remember I was like, oh.
And then Tate left here and went to Cincinnati,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Pretty productive there, I thought. Or better than here.
So he had a career 1,099 yards. But my memory says what you just did, which is, he was better in Cincinnati. That was the whole issue. Because everyone who leaves here as a receiver goes to be more productive elsewhere. 71 catches, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. But he had couple memorable touchdowns. Now we're really just going to the Wayback Machine. Remember there was like a spinning touchdown 2010. The Vikings come in here, Brett Favre, and it's just this weird play where Brady's running around and then finds Tate. And the dude, he just takes off for 30 yards because this play had gone on for 10 seconds. No one in Minnesota knows what to do on defense anymore because plays don't go 8 seconds. And then Brandon Tate's like, well, I'm fast and I have the ball, so see you later.
And that description is what happens for most receivers in college football. Right there. Okay, I'm a fast guy, got the ball, score. Defenders are confused, or if they're just not as talented as I am, and I come up with a bunch of big touchdowns.
Tyquan Thornton, I felt like that about big plays at Baylor. Like this guy was a player at Baylor. Yeah, he's made some plays, I guess, with Patrick.
Oh yeah, Mahomes likes him.
Deep threat.
Speaking of receivers, we all saw who the Philadelphia Eagles selected last night.
Yet another receiver, Mekhi Lemon.
Traded up.
And so what does that tell you? A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, you ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here anymore. He is definitely going to get traded.
Adam Schefter, I pretty much said likely last night, Patriots.
Well, he did that Monday as they were trying to stem the tide of all of the headlines that have still come since then, shockingly, after they had leaked. You would suspect. One would allegedly suspect.
Yeah, I think Adam Schefter is trying to come up with different words just to move it along. He's just to kind of change the report a little bit. Let me just tweak it a little bit. I keep saying the same thing, but I'm going to come up with a different word to make it sound a little different.
That's like when Woj first got hired at ESPN, and they're like, "Hey, you can't tip picks," but he's still tweeting.
Yeah.
I got a feeling Utah is going to take this center from Serbia. They're expected to. Inklings are. Suggestions might be the Celtics are.
Word is.
Yeah, thinking about
Don't
Peyton
be surprised.
Pritchard. Yeah, keep an eye on. Maybe 2.
Well, it was Manny Wilkins, guys, was the quarterback at Arizona State. Actually played for the Packers, was on their practice squad. He was a dual threat and actually threw for 7,000 yards in college.
It was like Malik Willis before Malik Willis, right?
And he did not like me. Because I was definitely...
you still have those DMs?
I just, what's funny? I just searched for it and I couldn't find it. But I searched for it.
Well, I heard something yesterday. If you just hold on to things, hold on to DMs, pictures for like 5-6 years.
Oh, no.
They might be valuable one day. You just never know, Joe. Hold on to... Don't... Here's the lesson. Don't delete those DMs. Don't delete those pictures.
I learned a long time ago not to put stuff in writing. That was like one of the and you're a teacher, Mike, so you got to tell those students that now. Don't. Okay, this is way off the script.
We got a script?
Well, listen, I don't use Snapchat. I'm not a Snapchat guy, but if you guys know anything about Snapchat, if you take a photo and send it, it disappears. Where does it go? How does it just disappears?
It goes to page 6.
Ryan, where do those go? You're a Snapchat guy, right?
No, that I learned my lesson.
Theoretically, they disappear, but like nothing you ever post on the internet disappears. Like it's saved somewhere.
Somewhere, something.
How'd you find that out, Beaton?
Who knows?
No, but Snapchat though, out, like hard out. If you know someone on Snapchat, get the sniffer out It bad. Out. It's a bad thing.
When are we doing that? 8 o'clock today?
Actually, there is something I want to do with
I
Mike.
hope so.
Something I want to do with Mike later.
Hey, listen, I'm on.
You had a take this week. And yesterday we had a photo that Andrew had. And you mentioned the worst.
Not on Snapchat.
Yeah, the worst team of the century when it came to the Red Sox. I want to pick up on that.
Yeah.
Again, I know you're starting at the 2000s. I think that 92 team might have been the worst. Actually,
See, think about that. You got to go all the way back to 1992. That's why I said this century.
this century.
Because there were I saw some bad ones. I saw some bad teams in the 90s, Red Sox teams, especially. But even after people left, because I was going to go back to like 97 after they lost Clemens. Remember, twilight of his career. But
Jose
after they lost Clemens, they still had Mo Vaughn.
Yep. Yeah, I remember the Jack Clark, Rob Deere years. Those were the.
Had Steve Avery as their number one starter.
Yep.
Steve Avery.
They big signing from the Braves. Yeah. They just got him a little too late at that.
And then they wouldn't pitch him down the stretch. They tried to kind of shut him down because if he hit X amount of starts, Callahan, they were going to have to pay an extra, $2 million or $3 million. So Jimmy Williams was the manager, and he was like, "We're not doing that. We're not playing that game. I'm going to start him. This is Bush.
The horse is in the barn."
Yeah,
it was a big Jimmy saying, especially with Pedro Martinez. He protected him at all costs, and you know what? He was right. He was right at the time.
Remind me when we get to that segment to read off the 2020 Red Sox roster, because that was my only pushback for Michael when we did this on TV the other night.
But as you read that roster, I think you'll see the names Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts. Still, give me a Xander Bogaerts.
I do not recall.
Give me a Xander Bogaerts on the 2026 Red Sox.
There's another big bat in here that I had forgotten about too.
All right, we'll do that.
More at 8:20.
More. We got what happened last night. Is that what we do next?
Yeah,
that's what we do.
We'll break. Who's the newest edition of the New England Patriots, and what did Mike Vrabel say? We'll have all that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. It's time to discuss what happened last night, brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. Change your lettuce, change your life. We'll talk to Matthew Lopresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. What happened last night, Andrew Callahan?
Oh, last night, Joe Murray, after another flood of photos. Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. We had another press conference and another statement from Mike Vrabel. This came about 7:20. So 40 minutes before the draft starts, he walks into the room, delivers a 3-minute opening statement, takes 5 questions, and then goes up to the war room where the Patriots obviously drafted Caleb Lomu. But in that statement, Vrabel said, quote, "I take accountability for my actions and the actions that cause the distraction to the people that I care most about. My family, this football team, the organization, and our fans. My previous actions don't meet the standard that I hold myself to," end quote. And he confirmed the same statement he gave to ESPN, saying he's going to leave for counseling. And this was the part that he specifically mentioned about his family and why he will be away Saturday with them during day 3 of the draft.
Like I told you before, my priorities are my family and this football team, and in that order. And there's a balance there that I am going to create. My family needs me this weekend, and that's where I'll be. But I'm confident in the people that we have. I'm confident in the preparation. I'm thankful for Elliot and his staff that have prepared us for this night, for this weekend.
Andrew Callahan.
Michael Holley.
Help me out, brother. Do you think when Mike Vrabel says, I'm asking this question, and I just thought of this, when he says, my family needs me this weekend, not to say that when your kids are in their 20s that they don't need parenting anymore. I'm told that this is a lifelong pursuit. It's a lifelong thing. You're never off the hook as a parent when they're adults and all that stuff. So I got it. But do you think when he says my family, he really is saying my wife?
I do.
My wife needs it. Let's change family to my wife needs me this weekend.
Well, but I think if he says that way, it's a way of kind of pushing things onto her in a way that would be not untoward, but curb the accountability he's trying to take. Well, my wife said she needs me this weekend, so I'm going to go.
I get it. That's smart.
And I think we could see through it.
Yeah.
But I do think that's what he means.
And that's smart the way you say that, because it makes it seem like I'm kind of shucking my responsibility. But on the flip side, Joe, you can tell me if you agree with this. On the flip side, it makes it more specific. My family needs me this weekend. It's kind of vague. It's kind of generic. You can kind of hide in that statement. My family needs me this weekend. I'm accountable for my actions. What were my actions? Well, I was in a bar with Diana Rossini 6 years ago. Those photos came out. And then I was in Sedona with Diana Rossini. So it was not necessarily, hey, this is it affects the family. But the bottom line is, it's infidelity. So it makes it a little bit more specific if he says, yeah, my wife needs me. Why does my wife need me? Because I did some stuff that is embarrassing to her, that is humiliating to her.
And I think it goes to yesterday when one was a statement, the other's an action. So that's probably for her or the family side of things. The other thing is, like, how can you be critical about someone who uses their family? I'm not saying it's a shield, right?
Right.
But can you be critical when someone says that? Like, oh, I'm doing this for my family. Like, I think like we can read the tea leaves, but how can you publicly or like even ask him or even be critical to him because he's bringing up his family?
It's kind of like the force field. You can't hands off. It's just like when someone says, Hey, man, where were you? What was going on? Well, I'm working on my mental health. Okay. All right. Sorry. All right.
Well, no, it's another one.
Sorry. All right. Sorry, man. Sorry.
My kids. Yeah. Again, I'm 44, so a lot of people that they have young kids. Hey, man, why can't you? Oh man, my kid's sick. It's like when I get that one, I'm like,
yeah. Oh, okay.
All right, man.
Yeah.
But the mental health one, you're right. You can't really go there either.
So, and I was worried to the point about a shield that they might wait all the way until last night, but after the draft, before we heard from Mike Vrabel. And obviously that hasn't happened. He talked to us Tuesday, talked to Mike Reese late Wednesday night, keeping Mike up with a statement. And then again last night, because using now Caleb Lomu as a shield would have been just low. They didn't do that I didn't think the statement Tuesday was great, but what happened last night probably should have happened on the front end, where you're a little bit more specific to your point.
And take questions.
Right, about hiding in the vagueness of this. And you can say your family. Then the follow-up question, which again, we got 5, and this is if you really wanted to kind of not tweak them, but be critical. So they need you Saturday, but the first 2 days of the draft are cool. Like that came off as kind of a negotiation. And this is between him, his wife, and his sons, if it is involving all of the family on Saturday. But it just... He's in obviously a tough spot, a place that he and Diana put himself in. It's just, to me, it struck me that, yes, it is vague, but I appreciate some of the specifics that were offered yesterday and the taking of questions, because that affirmed the sincerity he tried to express Tuesday, but was completely undercut by the bait and switch that they had with the staging of the press conference and the fact he wouldn't address anything question-wise on Tuesday. He did that last night.
You asked him, what was that question you asked yesterday? I thought was a really good one. You asked him...
I said, Mike, your initial statement was that any insinuation these photos were not innocent was, quote, laughable. What was your process of getting from there to now 3 statements later saying you need to take accountability for your actions?
And his answer was...
Well, it was, you try to protect your family. I would never be dismissive, end quote.
Yeah. Which I thought was... He answered your question.
He did.
He answered it. Now that we've had this conversation, did all this happen because he was tipped off days ago that more stuff's coming out?
I think so.
I agree.
I think so. I think, he probably thought after the initial statement where he just kind of, everybody wasn't there. It was everybody was surprised that Mike Vrabel was available. It wasn't like yesterday where Mike Vrabel was available is going to speak at 7:20. They should have done that the first time. Mike Vrabel was going to be available at this time, give you a few hours to get there, ask questions, answer as many questions as he can, and then theoretically move on. I think he thought he was moving on Tuesday. Then he found out this was happening. And it kind of changed the game a little bit. Yeah. I think it was a response to it. And so counseling, who knows? Who knows what counseling is? I've heard a lot of people speculate on it. It could be, it is also an umbrella term. It could be counseling for his marriage. It could be counseling for a number of things.
Legal counseling?
Yeah, I mean, it could be that.
Yeah, that's right.
Could be. I mean, it could be a number of things. So you just don't know what counseling is and why it has to happen on Saturday.
So the other detail that we have, this came courtesy of Phil Perry, as I'm watching a mute TV in my new office down there at the new facility, says his understanding is Vrabel will not be away for long. However, Vrabel was asked this himself, and I think this answer is most telling because, again, this is a football activity. It's a big day. Then you have rookies coming in, OTA practices, minicamp is in June. How much time will he miss? This is what he had to say about that.
Do you anticipate missing any? I'm sorry, Karen Brown.
Ben, that's fine. Do I anticipate missing
any other football activities in the coming weeks?
Ben, I can't answer that. I can only say that whatever my family needs, that's what I'm going to provide. But I also understand what's needed for me here. This is an exciting time. I'm confident that if I weren't able to be here, that we have people in place that can support them.
So I don't know.
I'm telling you this, guys. I cannot think of an example of a head coach who is not there for the draft. And I'm talking about coaches who don't have final say. I'm talking about coaches who answer to the GM and the GM answers to the owner. So Mike Vrabel is, I think he's got, in my opinion, he's got more influence. He had more influence than Elliott Wolf, and that this team is a reflection of Mike Vrabel. So this is one of these coaches where when they make a pick, you go, oh yeah, I understand what Mike is thinking, not a Seattle situation where, hey, John Schneider, I understand what John Schneider is thinking with this roster, or Eric DaCosta. It's a GM-centered, GM-driven operation. Any situation, whether it's the GM in charge or the coach, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, I can't think of an example where a coach is not there for the draft. This is a huge deal, even though it's day 3, and you might know day 3, how many of these guys going to make the team? off the top of my head, maybe, and Bert, Bert knows this stuff inside out. Maybe he can think of somebody who, a couple of years ago, this prominent coach wasn't there for the draft. I can't imagine it.
Just real quick, Andrew, before he made the statement, the Patriots had their own statement as well. I won't read the whole thing, but they essentially supported Mike Vrabel, which I think they should do, right?
Well, should they?
Well, I think. No, why I'm saying should they?
They
should.
Tell me why you said that. Because I'm unconvinced that we are at the floor.
So 2 things on that. One,
for Mike Vrabel.
Kalshi, which is like a betting app, they had first coach fired. Mike Vrabel's like rising up the list at 42% chance. The other thing is, I do think when mental health is mentioned or counseling is mentioned, when you're a company, you can't, you have to support that person, right? Like, isn't that like an HR thing? I just feel like there's a little something there. That's why they're supporting him.
I don't think HR is big in the NFL. Not in football operations. Maybe in the business, maybe the business department, maybe in marketing. I don't think HR is big with coaching staffs and GMs and players.
Just again, I'm reaching a little bit. I'm trying to find like a reason why they would support him.
No, I think they need to do so to be on the record to say that they support him. Because let's say this isn't the floor, as you suggest, and more things come out and they're worse than all of these photos. By the way, I'm done with statements. If anyone's going to talk to us, if anyone wants to get a hold of me or let me know what they think, let's have a press conference. Let's go for longer than 5 minutes. I'm done with the statements. But this way they can say, well, we supported you to here, and then this came out. And if we need to make a change or we feel compelled to do that, they could probably have a scenario in which I don't think they're going to get there, but we were with you. We couldn't go a step further, okay? And this is an instance where you need to resign or we need to part ways or whatever it might be. There's no suggestion here for me, certainly not the Boston Herald, that that's going to happen. But I think it's just them a little CYA.
Yeah, all right, fellas. How could it be the floor, though? How could it be the floor when we haven't heard from Diana Rossini? We haven't heard from Diana Rossini since her her second statement, which was still so defiant and almost comical now when you look at what's happened since. So her resignation statement, I'm resigning not because your narrative, I'm resigning because I'm just stepping away from this. I'm stepping away. None of this stuff is true. Oh, no? Since that resignation, we've had Mike Vrabel change his statement that was made in concert with Diana Rossini, and we've got those Tribeca, let's call them the Tribeca photos. The Tribeca photos from 6 years ago. And so she doesn't have her job. She has there's no more alliance. There's no more collaboration with Mike Vrabel. And it's going to be tough for her to go back to ESPN. That's not happening. The Athletic, New York Times, that's not happening. So she's probably looking at it. She's got to say something, doesn't she? And you got to be, if I'm Vrabel, just being real, if I'm Vrabel, I'm nervous as hell about what she's going to say. Or what kind of photos she has. What kind of receipts does she have? Oh, man, it can get worse. It can get worse for him. Well, and what about the New York? What else does the New York Post have? Because the New York Post, they may have had stuff on their own, but then they had those photos from 6 years ago. They didn't have that initially. Somebody said, hey, there's something else over here. That's what happens when you're Page 6 and you're TMZ. Now, you either crowdsource or people come to you and say, hey, I got something else. Check this out. Oh, man, I got to tell you, I won't be surprised at all if something else comes out.
All right, we'll leave it there. We got to break quickly. We got a headline from Andrew Callahan as well, and we'll finish the rest of what happened last night. We got our day, guys. We got Albert Breer in studio today. We're here till 10 o'clock. We'll be talking about this. Love to hear from you guys, too. Let's hit the headline and take a break. It's 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
Last night, the Patriots made a draft pick. His name is Caleb Lomu. He's a left tackle from Utah. The Patriots moved up 3 spots to grab him in a deal with Buffalo that made him the 28th overall pick last night in the draft. Lomu was 21, who started the past 2 seasons and didn't allow a sack last year. Elliot Wolf saying Lomu can play almost anywhere across the offensive line, which is critical considering Wolf reiterated Will Campbell is the team's starting left tackle. Tonight, the Patriots are scheduled to make one pick in the second round and the third round, with the draft scheduled to restart at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Wolf is again expected to speak with reporters at the end of the day, while Mike Vrabel may not meet with the media for another month, because prior to last night's first round, Vrabel stood for a 7-minute press conference and shared he intends to seek counseling starting Saturday, when he will be out of town with his family, yet available to the Patriots while they make 8 draft picks. His comments followed the release with 3 additional photos showing him and former NFL insider Diana Rossini by Page 6, this time at a New York City bar in 2020, and another courtesy of TMZ at a Mississippi casino in January 2024. Said Vrabel, quote, "I take accountability for my actions and the actions that cause a distraction to the people that I care most about. My family, this football team, the organization, and our fans. My previous actions don't meet the standard that I hold myself to." Vrabel then took 5 questions after Roger Goodell, hitting softballs off a tee in a pre-draft interview with ESPN, said this is a personal matter and somehow doesn't fall under the personal conduct policy. Elsewhere, the Bruins lost home ice advantage by dropping a 3-1 decision in Game 3 of their first-round series with the Sabres last night at TD Garden. Buffalo scored 2 third-period goals after Victor Arvidsson missed a penalty shot that could have put the Bruins up 2-0. Game 4 is set for Sunday in Boston. Meanwhile, the Celtics are back in action tonight for Game 3 in Philadelphia as 7.5-point favorites. That series is tied 1-1. And the Red Sox, a little optimism somehow, and a season sweep at the hands of the Yankees. Peyton Tolley strikes out 11 in 6 innings, allowing just 1 earned run in his MLB season debut. Sox lost 4-2, and now head to Baltimore for the start of a critical 6-game stretch. I'm Andrew Callahan from 98.5 The Sports Hub. Reach your health and weight goals with Reclaim by Wake and 180, a 10-week medication-free plan with weekly results and a finish line. More Sports Hub headlines coming up in a bit.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Bruins fans, this playoff season, make Hurricanes at the Garden in
Like you, Fred, I'm not worried.
The Sports Hub.
Cooking soul.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll have Burt Breer in studio coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. The Patriots made a draft pick last night, and they got aggressive. Andrew Callahan, not a guy from Texas Tech.
Utah's Caleb Lomu, 21. Sweet guy.
Did not give up a sack last year.
Did not.
Played left tackle from what I remember. A little fit. Like, I don't want to say, like, Sebastian Vollmer was big, right? Thin. This guy's a little thin. But he's excellent footwork, and he's got to go on the Joe Murray beef program. We got to get him some beef.
I'm reading the Beast here. The Beast, this draft Bible, has him listed as 6'6", 313. So relatively thin. But 6'6", 313 is, you get on the program, they make that 6'6", 330, you'd be in pretty good shape.
So he needs a little more sand in his pants. I think is how we put this time of year. We got like 9 more months. You can only listen to Christmas songs, Thanksgiving to New Year's. We need to use all the ridiculous scouting terms we can today, because after the weekend, they're up on the shelf with that book.
Yeah, that's right. Gone until the 2027 Beast comes out, which will be really well done. He needs, you know what he needs, Joe? He needs the food that we were going to try to get today.
Right.
Is it coming?
Well, I'm working on it.
All right.
Still working on that.
What do we got?
No, the problem is everything opens at 8 o'clock.
We'll take it at 8.
I know. I've reached out to people. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I'm
waiting.
Of course, Joe Murray. We had a great food conversation the other day, so we're trying to get some good, solid breakfast food. So, Caleb Lemieux, do you like some good, solid, heavy breakfast stuff? You're going to need it.
I'm trying to use like a comp. I mentioned Sebastian Vollmer. It's not great. You're not going to like the comp that I have, but it's kind of like a Nick Kaiser type. This kid, I think, will be able to play. I think he can be a swing tackle immediately. But he's not like the big guy. Who's the guy they used last year? Was it Mumford?
Thayer Mumford.
Oh, yeah. He's not that guy. He's lean.
It's probably a good thing.
But I think the fact that he's lean isn't football going that way now, though? Is they want that leaner tackle instead of the heavier Trent Williams type tackle?
The Patriots are. I think the goal is always to have, you want to be big, just like basketball. You'd rather be big and skilled than small and kind of play up, right? Because there's just nothing you can do. Like Victor Wembanyama is the best player in the league because he's 7'4" and can play like he's 6'6". If you're 6'6" and can play like 7'4", you still have people towering over you.
Absolutely.
If you're in football, the Patriots are pivoting from the Mike Onwenu types who are pushing 350 on certain days of the week and going, hey, we're going to have a tackle who's taller than you, but 35 pounds lighter in Caleb Lomu and Will Campbell. This is a much more athletic line, especially when you consider Vera Tucker, who they signed in free agency. Great athlete. Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, great athletes. Now Lomu, who will presumably be their starting right tackle moving forward. That's where they're going, at least with this offense.
All right, and you're going to know where I'm going when I say that Lomu, his arm length is 33 3/8. So is there any, you're shaking your head, is there any chance, a guy who has played left tackle, is there any chance in this reconfigured offensive line that's more athletic on the Patriots that Lomu is a left tackle and Will Campbell is, say, the left guard?
Sure. I just thought I had escaped the reach of the arm length conversation.
I know. We're not talking about arm length. We're talking about.
I know.
Yeah, but he can play. He's a typically sized left tackle, and they drafted him in the first round. And Will Campbell, we saw him. It could have been the injury, whatever. We did see him struggle in the playoffs mightily.
How about this?
One of the worst Super Bowls we've ever seen from a left tackle. Do you think this guy could swing over to the left side?
Let's ask Elliot Wolf.
Do you realistically see him at 6'6" and a quarter playing inside a guard?
I think it's possible. Again, that's maybe one that we'll see a little bit more when he gets here. But just from a physical, athletic standpoint, I don't see a reason that he couldn't.
So maybe guard. Obviously played left tackle. I think they look at this and say this is the heir apparent to Morgan Moses at right tackle, and he tested and drilled at right tackle during the pre-draft process. So I think they go, you're so green and you're going to be just so flexible now at 21 without a lot of bad habits. We can put you over there. But that is independent of, can we survive with Will Campbell at left tackle? So at the very least, as far as Caleb Lomo is concerned, he's kind of an insurance policy there. And especially this year, because we've completely overlooked that. Who knew everyone should miss Vidarian Lowe, their backup left tackle who's serviceable last year? Because you don't really have one. All due respect to James Hudson III, who, you take one look at his PFF page, I don't think you're going to want to know anything more, even if you hate PFF. That thing has got so much red pen on it. I thought I was back in school. Like, it's just not going to happen there. But Caleb Lomo, that's a different story.
Do you like the pick or not?
Yes.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I think it helps the rest of the draft because they have a tackle or interior or whatever, and now they can focus on the other positions that there's a lot of guys still available on edge and other areas they can improve on.
Yeah, I'll just quickly say I like the pick just from a program building standpoint. So I don't look at it and say, well, yeah, you got him and you can put him at left tackle and do all that stuff. No, I say you're at you move up to 28, and one of the smart things to do as a team is to improve the offensive line, especially after what we saw last year. I just think it's a smart pick for a good team. Good teams do this. They stack offensive linemen, really competent offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and then they figure out where they're going to place them later. But it's easier just to have that guy because it's a rare commodity. They were almost at the point. Now, here, the Beast has him as the 5th rated tackle. Some people say he's number 6 or number 7. There were like 7 guys, and they got either the 5th, 6th, or 7th guy. I think that's good business.
And you used one of your 4th-round picks, so you still have one. This was not a prohibitive cost to go up and get a guy where there was a big drop-off, and Elliot Wolf acknowledged this in his press conference afterward. Like, yeah, there was a drop-off, so we're glad we got him. The interesting part to me, and this is for later, doesn't scream Mike Vrabel as a prospect. The areas he needs improvement are usually the starting points for me looking at guys go, okay, who are they going to look for? Who are they going to like? But he'll have time to grow into that because he's not going to have to start day one.
All right, Bert Breer is here, and we'll have more. He'll be here the whole hour. We got a lot to get into with you, Bert, so we'll take a quick break. a lot to get into. We'll take a quick break here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
across the offensive line, and the team canceled the pre-draft visit because they didn't expect Lomu to be available. Also, Will Campbell, still the Patriots' left tackle. Elsewhere, the Bruins lost home ice advantage by dropping a 3-1 decision in Game 3 of their first-round series with the Sabres last night at Teton Garden. Buffalo scored 2 third-period goals and benefited from a goalie change as Alex Lyon made 24 saves in victory. Game 4 is set for Sunday in Boston. Meanwhile, another Game 3 will be tonight in Philadelphia. Celtics and Sixers. Boston is a 7.5-point road favorite despite dropping Game 2 in embarrassing fashion a couple of days ago here in TD Garden. The series will at least go 5 games, ensuring a return to Boston. And the Red Sox saw a rare ray of light in this dark, dark season. Peyton Tolley striking out 11 in 6 innings pitched, allowing just 1 earned run in his MLB season debut. The Sox lost, however, to the Yankees, who left town with a season sweep. Tonight, the Patriots will be at the draft again, scheduled to make 1 pick in the second round and the third, with the draft restarting at 7 p.m. on ESPN. Elliot Wolf is again expected to speak with reporters at the end of the round after Mike Vrabel made a statement prior to the first round last night saying he is expected to step away for counseling and to spend time with his family Saturday on day 3 of the draft. This update was brought to you by the 99s. Visit the 9s for Prime Rib Lovers Weekend. Enjoy a prime rib and get a free 3-course meal upgrade Friday after 4 p.m. and all day, Saturday and Sunday. You gotta love the 9s. I'm Andrew Callahan for 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next headlines coming up in 30 minutes.
This is what happens when analysts take over the games, take over the sport.
This is where you talk sports.
It happens all the time.
The Sports Hub.
I know. No, you don't know.
Everyone agrees that I'm the only one who's not wrong.
Right or wrong, they're back. Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Mike, could you explain how over just the last 2.5 weeks we go from your original statement about, any insinuation that the photos were anything other than innocent was laughable to your comments Tuesday to now deciding to go to counseling? What is that process?
Well, that's a private and personal matter. I don't think that those comments. I think that was, always an attempt to protect your family.
On TV late last night. Anything new?
Very late.
Anything new? We've mentioned the multiple statements. We mentioned the Patriots statement. We mentioned Mike Vrabel's statement. Then there was the draft pick. What is the fallout from the last 24 to 48 hours regarding Mike Vrabel to start?
Well, I think things have materially changed now, and the fact that, it very much, if anybody had any doubt that this is seeping into the football, is certainly becoming like a football problem, and that they're not going to have their chief decision maker on day 3 of the draft. And I would argue that you need that person more on day 3 than you do on day 1 or day 2, because I think a lot of the hay's in the barn. Michael, you were in these war rooms, right? You saw what it looks like.
Yeah.
Round 1, you're going in. They may have 5 players in the stack, and it's okay. If this happens, that you can game that out. Even round 2, round 3, you're dealing with a way more known commodity. You get to day 3, it is like a big pile of players, and we got to talk through this and this and this and this scenario and that scenario. And so, certainly this becomes a football issue now for the Patriots. And I think to me, the first thing I kept thinking of yesterday was, what did these two tell their families? What did Mike Vrabel tell his boss? What did Mike Vrabel tell his players? Because I think that becomes so key now. Because now we know there's more than one thing here. And there's not it just happened. We really made a big mistake. It's a one-time thing. Now there's different context to all of this that is really hard to talk your way out of if you're one of the two of them. And so I just know, if you mess up and you come clean with people about it, generally they're pretty forgiving. I think that's part of the problem with this whole story, right?
Right.
Because the
denials
were so strong and forceful.
Indignant,
and I'll tell you this part of it too. I think, Michael, Andrew, I think you guys would agree with me here. And this isn't meant to be a warning shot to anybody about dealing with a journalist, but the worst thing you can call a journalist is wrong. And I'm not talking about opinions. Everybody's got opinions. When a reporter is reporting fact and you call them wrong or say that their reporting is laughable, it is the worst thing you can say.
That's right.
And if
Yep.
I can still remember. I can give you guys an example from my own past. I reported why Aaron Hernandez fell in the draft in 2010, and I reported that I had 3 teams telling me that he failed multiple drug tests, and the Patriots came out and denied it. And so I had the they came out and denied it, said no, it was only 1 drug test. That wasn't true. The way they got around it was there was only 1 official NCAA test. He'd failed a bunch of the school's drug tests. So the next day in the newspaper, in the Boston Globe the next day, I said I wrote the news story. The Patriots have denied, blah, blah, blah. The Globe reported on whatever it was on Monday that sources from 3 teams had told us that that Aaron Hernandez had failed multiple drug tests in college. The Globe now has 7 teams.
Right.
That was my reaction, and I think that's any journalist's reaction. It's like, oh, you're gonna call me out? You want to doubt my reporting? You're gonna try and make me look bad? You know what I'm gonna do?
I got more.
Yeah,
I got more.
And that's where they called down the thunder on this, and so like I think the piece of this that's like relevant to the 2 of them now isn't so much what they're saying publicly, it's what they're saying privately to the people around them and what they've already said privately to the people around them, because I think that's the piece of it. It's like, and I think how people in your personal life, whether it's, your family, your friends, or in your work life would react if you messed up and then you only admitted the part that they found out about and said, one-time thing, no big deal, and then they found out 3 other things happened.
Well, if there are more pictures, if more pictures come out related to this, if it's just this, more specifically, if there are more Rossini Vrabel pictures,
yeah,
or more Vrabel somebody else pictures, when do you think the Patriots say, okay, that's enough? That's enough. Are they, or does that not happen?
Know.
Does that not happen?
I mean, I feel like, to me, like they have 100% circled the wagons around Mike Vrabel. That's my sense of it.
And why do you think that is?
I mean,
because we love you, Mike. And
first and foremost, I do think like Robert Kraft's a good-hearted guy. Look, they've got their own past, right? Like, so that's out there. So I do think that this is a 25-year relationship. This isn't like a coach going into his 2nd year like, wow, we did great. But there's that part.
Oh, you're talking about – see, when you said that, you're talking about Vrabel and the Patriots. Wait a minute. I wasn't sure what you were saying initially. Oh, okay, I get it now. 25-year relationship between Vrabel and the Patriots.
There'd be some bad math there.
Yeah.
You start to count backwards on that one.
All right.
But yeah, so you have that. So you have a 25-year relationship between the team and the coach. And, I think there's also like – I think last year was probably intoxicating for Robert Kraft after going through the crash landing of the Bill Belichick era, right? Like the end of the Bill Belichick era just ends it is a complete mess. Then you hire Gerard Mayo. That goes the way it does. Back-to-back 4-win years. And now all of a sudden, and think about it, like for an owner, it's more than just the wins. It's more than just getting back to the Super Bowl. It's, again, like when I say intoxicating, I think Robert Kraft really likes being on the marquee, right? Likes having his team on the marquee, likes being thought of as a marquee franchise. And I'm sure to some degree when they were winning those 6 Super Bowls, they thought, oh, we're like the Steelers or the Cowboys, the Packers now. And then they found out they aren't. Because once they got bad again, they're like everybody else. And they're playing at 1 o'clock on Sunday every week. And now all of a sudden you're going to be back on Sunday Night Football. And you're going to be back on Monday Night Football. And you're going to be playing on holidays. And so I'm sure that piece of it is, man, I don't want to go back again. So I think that there's that piece of it too. The relationship plus the success that they've had. It certainly feels to me like they're circling the wagons around Mike Vrabel, and they were doing everything they could to protect Mike Vrabel's employment over the last 24 hours.
I also think, people have asked initially why Diana had been acting and treated in a much different way than Mike Vrabel, and then you get into the conversations of there were moral and ethical ground rules that were violated. In this case, for Mike, it's much more moral than ethical because the NFL only wields that personal conduct policy when it wants to. Roger Goodell says last night, we don't want to do this. This is a team issue. So then it's a matter of, okay, the relationship with Kraft, which as you've outlined, is not only long and there's history and there's trust, it has to erode further than it has now because I think that there are diminishing, impacts and negativity surrounding the photos because we've seen enough of them already. They've made enough statements. If something was to happen in terms of a change, it would have to be something worse that we've not heard of and they've not heard of, because then that would hit at the trust that's already been eroded a little bit and raise the stakes publicly, because that's all that they're losing right now is some public image. And that's not great, but that's not been grounds for any kind of firing or change. Not to mention, we are so late in the process here. It's not like they can just go into the coaching cycle and say, we'll take the top guy available. There's a whole program to be consideration.
They look at their whole route. They look at their coaching staff, where they got some former head coaches on there. Josh McDaniels, Doug Marrone, Thomas Brown, if he, interim guy. They got some guys who have led franchises before with varying degrees of success. So if that were, on the table, I mean, they could go there without it being too much of a stretch.
Let me ask you guys this, because of that, right? Because you have Terrell Williams too, who is the assistant head coach, who I think is capable of leading also. So that's 4 guys. If you're at the Craps, you tell them go away and come back when all this is in order. You know what I mean?
Tell Vrabel?
Yeah. You tell them go away and like not for a weekend. Go away.
For how long?
Well, no, you determine that. But we want all of you when you come back. So go away. And you when you're ready, you come back.
See, I think the team would have to put they would almost have to set the terms, because you know how coaches are. Hey, go away and come back when you're ready, and you'll see him in 3 days.
Yeah,
because it's just like that starting quarterback. Tom Brady is not trying to give you the position,
because they constantly feel like they're falling.
Or hey, you may find out you don't need me. Like all these coaches, despite the big personality of Mike Vrabel and whoever else, or whatever other coach you look at and say he's untouchable, there's an insecurity there.
Yep.
Of if I step away from the job, they might be functional without me. They may have success without me, and then where does that leave me? So you would have to. The coach is not going to do it on his own. You almost have to tell him, it's 3 weeks, it's a month. It's 2 games, whatever.
So the other part about this, though, is the power dynamic, right? Like, they're the rare organization that is head coach centric. And my understanding is the Crafts are a little bit afraid of going back to kind of the Bill model, where he had so much power and equity that he could kind of box them out and not let them know anything. That's clearly not going to happen with Vrabel. But Vrabel is still the sun around which the entire organization revolves. It's not just, can we put Doug Marrone in the head coach's office for a couple of weeks? Who is going to be walking the halls? Who is going to be in the weight room? Who is going to be leading at the front of the room in a way that galvanizes the organization, as he did last year, in a way that took them to a place no one expected in the Super Bowl? All of the things that Mike Vrabel as a head coach are not just him going into the office and doing what every other head coach does. It's everything else around that and the personality you can't replace. And to me, if I'm the Crafts, that would also give me concern. Though you can mitigate some of his powers in his time because you've lost trust, and that's the price of that.
I can just tell you factually, he has not been the same the last 2 weeks in that building. And I think the sense I've gotten talking to people is like that bravado and everything else. I think this has taken a chunk out of that, and I really like Mike personally. I've known him a long time. I covered him as a player. You did too, Mike. I think deep down, he's a good guy with a good heart who's done a lot of good things for people and wants to do good things for people and has done right by a lot of people. I would say, to me, it's like what you don't want is that version of Mike Vrabel walking around for the next 6 weeks until summer, and then we'll see what happens when he gets back. You want to find a way to get the full Mike Vrabel back. And to me, that's the most important thing. Right now, they're lifting and running and meeting and doing all of that. This is the time. I mean, if there's anything fortunate about this, it's that they're entering now into a period of time when it's important. Don't get me wrong, but this is much better than this happening in the summer during training camp or the fall during the season. And so I think you have a little leeway there. I think it's just it's important that you get the full version of Mike Vrabel, because I think that bravado you're talking about, Andrew, the swagger, all of that. To me, that's such a big part of who Mike is. That's such a big part of how he gets people on board with him. And I think the players will have his back. Knowing what I know about the dynamics of that locker room and the dynamics of the organization right now, everyone is behind Mike Vrabel. And you want to keep it that way. And I think you do that by finding a way to get the full version of Mike Vrabel back. I think what you risk if it's like, okay, he's gone for a weekend and then he's back and it's still 80% of him. It's like we talked about Tiger Woods on TV last night, right? Like there was that whole thing, like, did he lose his edge after everything happened? Like, I think that's what you got to be a little, just like, look, Mike, get yourself right. We want the full version of you. And you know what? Like, if it's a week, if it's 2 weeks, if it's the rest of the spring, like, we just need the full version of you. And whatever it takes to get there, we'll get you there. So, like, I think that's, like, from a football standpoint, that's what's best for him, because I think so much of his strength is team building. And look, he's brilliant with the X's and O's and all of that stuff, too. I think he's one of the 10 best coaches in the league. But, like, the bravado, the swagger, the ability to bring people together is, like, maybe the biggest part of what he's good at. And if you don't get the full version of him, I think you risk losing some of that.
All right. We'll have more. There's a lot to get into here.
There is.
I'm just watching you guys.
There's a welcome back, Joe.
I'm also working on a food drop. So,
Hey, Joe, you're doing.
Joe made my week when he brought up Buzzy's roast beef earlier, because
Joe, you're doing God's work right now. Right? Yeah. We understand.
Figured I'll at least do something here while you guys.
The quiet work, as Jason Tatum might say.
That's right. All right, we'll take a quick break. Bert Breer is here. MMQB.
Televised too.
Yeah.
We'll have more coming up next
on YouTube.
Here on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to. And more.
All right, back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm actually curious, Bert, have you, and maybe you guys, Michael asked this earlier, but has a coach never been at the draft before?
Man, I'd have to think about that.
Same thing I said. It's
I mean,
really
feel like-
hard to imagine a coach
remember,
saying, I'm not there for the draft.
I remember Rex Ryan missing cutdown day and everybody making a huge deal out of that. Do you guys remember that? His son
Because
was
at Clemson.
His son was playing at Clemson.
Yes, I remember.
And so he wasn't at cutdown day.
Yeah.
He went to go see his son because it was the last chance he was going to have to see him. I think his son was playing special teams or something at Clemson. And so he went on this when cutdown day was still on Saturday because the rest of the year he wouldn't be able to see him play and got just destroyed. Like, if I remember, Manish killed him for it.
Oh, of course Manish did.
Yeah.
Manish was like, thank you for not being there.
Yeah.
Really stubbed his toe, PR-wise, but put his best foot forward as a father.
You know, the only thing I saw up close, and I can understand this because, extenuating circumstances.
Wes Welker over there.
It was the lockout year. So the uncapped year, 2011, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're working on this labor agreement. So I'm working on the book, and I was in the Falcons. This is day 3 in the Falcons war room.
It was Julio year when you did the book.
Julio year. So they had their first round pick, but they didn't have anything on day 2 because they gave it all up to get Julio.
Yep.
So finally, day 3, or no, actually it was day 2. Day 2 of the draft. Rich McKay comes into the war room because they all think that, hey, we're going to have a season. Hey, everything is good. McKay comes in and tells Mike Smith, their head coach, and Thomas Dimitroff, the general manager, hey, there's a setback here. And so we're not allowed to contact the players. This is what it is. And Mike Smith had this look on his face like, oh, are you kidding me? We're doing this. He pretty much checked out. And I think he left. He was like,
did he really?
Yeah, I think he left. He was like, what? Are we going to have is this lockout back on? And as we know, they actually had a season, uncapped year, but it was touch and go before they actually came to a deal. And Robert Kraft was a part of that.
Yeah.
Robert, famous photo, Robert Kraft, Jeff Saturday, and the whole thing. That's the only example I can think of a coach kind of checking out, but of the NFL draft. And I'm not saying Vrabel's checking out, but he's not. This is important. He's not there. I wonder what is that balance? What is that compromise?
Yeah, I can't think.
This is unprecedented.
Yeah. I can't think of an example. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I think there's something that I'm that I'm forgetting here, like where someone was sick or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm trying to. I mean, I don't know why I have it in my head.
Everybody's there. You see those war room shot. Everybody's.
Well, day 3,
a lot of it's performative. Oh, I love it. Yeah, we got our guy.
They bring in the scouts. That's the day to say, you know what? Come on in.
Right.
Everyone find a chair.
Everybody's dressed down.
Right. This is a busy day, but come on in. It's all right. Like, it's both very important because you're adding 5, 6, 7, 8 new players to your roster. It's also light lifting for the head coach. So it's interesting that there's input here because Vrabel has so much power. The thing to me, and I already kind of brought this up, which I don't know what Bert makes of this, is like Caleb Lomu did not scream a Vrabel prospect to me coming out. And it wasn't just because he played left tackle. They have a left tackle. But you read some of the scouting reports about him, and you can see it, frankly, with some of his run blocking at Utah. There's not a mean streak there. And he needs to add weight and a little bit more of an aggression. It doesn't mean Mike only deals with those type of linemen. But I just look at this and go, this is an Elliott Wolf pick. And you know what's going to happen Saturday? 8 Elliott Wolf picks. And I don't know whether it goes for full control over the roster, but that dynamic undoubtedly has changed now in light of all of the fallout here.
That number one, absolutely. Like this, if you know what the Packers do and what the Packers' history is, it's traits and it's guys from established programs and dipping into, okay, this program is really good at developing X, Y, and Z. Like very recently, they've taken a lot of Georgia defensive players. If you remember Eric Stokes and Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt, so that's the Packers' history is like height, weight, speed, and then established programs. They draft a ton out of the SEC. Utah's really good at developing offensive linemen.
Elliot mentioned their offensive line coach last night. Just
Right.
completely volunteered the guy's name.
Yep, it's really but that's the Packer way, right? Like so, I think that's definitely there. There are two things that I would just say on this pick in particular. Number one, I think you have to look at this year's draft as a mosaic because I've said this over the last few weeks, a very flat draft, right? So there may not be a huge difference between 15 and 75. Well, what do I mean when I say mosaic? I think when you look at your first 3 or 4 picks this year, you got to look at it and say, okay, if this guy's relatively even with this guy, what's the likelihood we get this position later on, and what's the likelihood we get that position later on? An offensive tackle was a position where it's 7 guys and then a steep drop, right? And the next guy might not go until the end of the second round. So 6 of the 7 were gone after 21 picks last night. When Max Henachor went to the Steelers, now 6 of the 7 are gone. There's 1 left. And so that was the first thing I thought of was, man, they wanted a tackle. And there's 1 of the 7 left. And he's just falling. Okay, he's getting closer to us. He's getting closer to us. And then you see the Chiefs there. And the Chiefs might not quite trust Josh Simmons and Jalen Moore's in a contract. And man, if he gets the cheat, and Andy Reid with the Utah guys, and let's go, So that's the first thing I thought. Second thing I thought of was Nate Solder. And if you remember, Nate Solder's profile was a lot like this. Big, long,
tall, athletic.
Much longer Nate Solder, though.
A little soft, right? With Solder, there was that question. But it was you can really develop him into something athletically. And if you remember, they brought him in. Matt Light was still here. Matt Light played the last year. They make the Super Bowl. Matt Light retires, and they move Nate Solder right in. And so I think it's that sort of pick where it's they're going to start him. They're going to start working with him, not start him. Morgan Moses is starting right tackle. But they're going to start him start working with him at right tackle. And then I think they just see where this evolves. They're going to tell you until they're blue in the face, Will Campbell's the left tackle. Do I think that's going to be the case in 2027? Maybe not. I think a lot of that depends on how Caleb Lomu comes along.
Do you think anybody in their division, the Patriots division, did things that you would say, okay, you got to look out for that,
Jets.
Or really the Jets? You really like that? Because we've seen this before.
I hate to say this,
but we've seen this before from the Jets.
I mean, Fred is down in Baja Mar now, I think, right? Probably pulling his hair out that he can't come on the air today because I know Fred loves the draft, right? But I look at the guys they drafted, and so David Bailey's the best pass rusher in the draft, and then they get Kenyon Sadiq, who I think had. I said this to a couple people. I'm like, Carnell Tate was never the number 1 at Ohio State. Really good player. I think he's a safe pick for the Titans.
I agree.
Jordan Tyson, there's a high ceiling. He's also had a zillion injuries, and there's a question about his toughness. And so, I look at that. I look at it, and I say, and I remember I titled this conversation with a lot of teams over the last couple of weeks. Does Kenyon Sadiq have the best chance to be the focal point of someone's passing game of any player in the draft? And a few teams said, yeah, he probably does. He's a tight end, so people value him differently. But now I look at that, right? And so they get David Bailey up high. They get Omar Cooper at the bottom of the round, who I love.
I love Omar Cooper Jr. I love him. I love that guy.
So the comp I heard for Omar Cooper Jr. was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay? So now, right, you have Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Kenyon Sadiq, Mason Taylor, who you drafted as your inline tight end last year, Omar Cooper, Armand Membu at right tackle, Olu Fashanu at left tackle. All of a sudden now, whether it's Arch Manning or CJ Carr or Dante Moore or Julian, whoever it is next year coming in, all of a sudden I think you've set yourself up, if you're the Jets, where it's this could be a pretty decent situation for a young quarterback to walk into. And by the way, now for Garrett Wilson, who's had the kitchen sink thrown at him because they have nothing else, and as far as pass catchers go. Now all of a sudden, this, I think this makes Garrett Wilson a better player too.
15 years of no playoffs, though.
Right.
I mean, you keep looking at it, and that's why I said we've seen it before from the Jets. I think it was 2022. They get Sauce Gardner. They get Garrett Wilson. They get Jermaine Johnson. Then they get in the second round, they get Breece Hall. And you're like, okay. It's like, I feel like we've been here before with the Jets. Hey, wait a minute.
That's going to be a super talented, beautiful 5-12 team next year. Where it looks really good.
You know?
But, like, the quarterback thing just completely sabotaged them. I mean, it was Zach Wilson for 2 years. Then Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles. Then Aaron Rodgers comes back, but the owner is, by that point, so impatient. He's pulling his hair out, fires the coach after. So, like, all I'm saying is, if they can get quarterback right, which is a big if, but it's set up for a young quarterback now. And, like, all these guys are going to have a year playing together with Frank Reich as their offensive coordinator. So those guys, I think, will have a good chance to grow there. It, like, sets up as, like, a pretty decent situation for a young quarterback because you've got 2 young tackles who are both drafted in the first round. You've got a first round. You've got 2 first-round receivers. You've got a first round and a second round tight end. You've got a second round running back. I mean, there's a lot of, like, high-end talent that they've got around whoever the quarterback winds up being long-term.
All right. I want to ask Bert on the other side.
And I know, and I understand the skepticism 100%.
It's an organizational thing, and the Amon-Ra St. Brown comp, I think, is like, if that's him, he wouldn't have gone after Mekhi Lemon or somebody else would have taken
also
him earlier.
an Amon-Ra St. Brown comp.
Right. I was feeling like a Robert Woods felt appropriate to me watching Omar Cooper Jr. Physical, tough, plays in the slot, blocks really well. Like, I like him a lot. It's just, I know why he won't be Amon-Ra St. Brown, and part of the reason is he now plays for the Jets.
Cooper and Lemon, I think, were very similar. Like, I remember it was interesting. If the Rams hadn't taken Simpson last night, I think it would have been Lemon at 13. And I know for a fact that they viewed Lemon and Cooper as similar, where they were basically, if they had decided against going Simpson, it would have been, all right, do we just take Lemon at 13, or do we trade down because we think Cooper is very close to being the same? And so, there's like a lot of that. Like, that's what I mean when I say a flat draft, you know? So that's why when the Patriots come up, when you're looking at it, if you're the Patriots, you're saying, okay, who's the edge we can get in the second round? Well, that guy's a way better player than the tackle we would draft in the second round. So let's go get the tackle.
I do want to ask you about Kayshon Boutte's future. Where does he end up? We'll have all that and more. Andrew Callahan's going to get us caught up right now in Sports Hub Headlines.
Sports Hub Headlines.
Sports Hub, Burt Breer is here. He's the senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for MMQB. We got Andrew Callahan of the Boston Herald, Michael Hawley of NBC Sports Boston, and I'm just Joe Murray here, hanging out with everybody.
Doing the quiet work.
I am the quiet work.
But doing some really important work.
Yes, the 5-part series in this order for breakfast is going to do numbers.
Joe, this is we're indebted. We're indebted. I don't know how to thank you.
Listen, guys, I'm just here so I don't get fined. That's why I'm here right now. Bert, what's the latest on Kayshon Boutte?
So he's available. I think they would love to get a 5th rounder for him. I think they'd maybe take a 6th rounder for him. I think the problem. So to me, like this is more than just having a surplus of receivers. I think it's sort of the health of your football team and projecting where that goes. And look, he's playing for life-changing money this year. He's in a contract year. He's an ex-receiver. If you are going to bring in A.J. Brown, that's where A.J. Brown's going to play. And so would you like to have like a little depth there? Sure you would. But you have to project that out, and you have to deal with these people like they're human beings. And with Kayshon Boutte, a part of the equation has to be, here's a guy who's going to be playing for a contract, and we're going to put him on ice so the other guy can play. Like, what's that going to be for the health of the room? Or are we better off just moving on now? And I think look, they've got good depth, if anything, at that position now, where they do have Romeo Doubs and Kyle Williams, and I think that there's like an opportunity here where Kayshon Boutte can go somewhere else and play for a contract. And I look, like I think that's just human nature. Any guy who like what every one of these guys is looking to do coming into the NFL, anybody who's not a first-round pick is, I want to be at my very best my 4th year, and I want to show everyone what sort of player I am so I can get the life-changing money at the end of my 4th year. And that's where he is. And if there's going to be this huge roadblock to him doing that, which would be A.J. Brown being in his position, then, I think that you have to consider that.
Well, speaking of A.J. Brown, the Eagles drafted another wide receiver last night. They took Mekhi Lemon. So they've got Mekhi Lemon. They added Dontavian Wicks. They added Elijah Moore, Hollywood Brown. It's clear that A.J. Brown is not going to go back there. If he does come here, what's the compensation? I mean, I think that's the big question. What's the compensation? What do the Patriots have to give up?
I think there are a couple of things we can look at with Howie Roseman's recent past. I think the 2 trades that I would look at are Hassan Reddick and Carson Wentz. The Hassan Reddick trade. Now the Eagles have a 3rd-round pick tonight. That was the Hassan Reddick pick, which I believe Hassan Reddick was traded I want to say 2.5 years ago. Somebody looked that up. He's either summer 23 or summer 24. But I remember when they traded
24.
So so the Eagles have never been shy about, and this is something you can do if you have job security, right? And Howie Roseman has job security, is all right, well, if you don't want to give us a 3rd rounder this year, give us a 3rd rounder next year, which is what happened in that trade, right? So they've never been afraid to take picks years out. So that's one thing to consider. I'd also tell you this, like when the Rams and the Eagles were talking about A.J. Brown trade, it was going to involve a 28 first rounder, which is crazy to think about because at that point you're talking about 3 drafts off because 26 hadn't happened yet, 27, 28. The other one is the Carson Wentz trade because that was a way to, I think Howie always wants to look like a winner in these things, and look like the winner in these things. And that was a roundabout way for them to get a 1st-round pick by making it a 2nd with a condition on it that could make it a 1st. Carson Wentz winds up hitting the condition. And so I think that that's the other one you want to look at. And it wouldn't surprise me if maybe that was a playoff condition because then that's essentially like in the NBA, you have top 10 protected or whatever. If you put a playoff condition on the pick, then it's the highest that pick could be would be what, 21? No, 19. So if you put like play time plus playoffs on the pick, then I think you can kind of get to a place where the Eagles could get a 1st-round pick, but it won't be any higher than 19.
I'd imagine Kayshon Boutte would have been part of any alleged trade talks that have now been agreed upon with Philly, not just because he's a receiver if they wanted to continue adding, which they've done several times now this offseason, but his skill set kind of fits Jalen Hurts, who wants to throw go balls
Downfield.
and is down the field and can run a mean slant on an RPO, and that's really all that Jalen Hurts is up to. But it sounds like he wouldn't be part of any trade package.
I think that'd just be tough because I think that's hard because, like, again, like this is such a huge year for Kayshon Boutte, and you're going to put him on ice for another month. And like I think that this kind of goes back to the reinforcing Mike Vrabel's message about like being so player centric and everything. It's like, okay, like, well, now we're going to take this guy going into the most important year of his professional life, and we're not going to, we're going to put him on ice so he doesn't get to join his new team or go build a relationship with his new quarterback or learn his new offense. That's a tough thing to do to a guy.
But it's also a Super Bowl contender.
No, I
You know what I mean?
No,
like, and you go in and
there's
okay, Devontae Smith is number 1. You could be number 2.
I'd also say like that receiver room's getting kind of crowded down there,
Well, it's a lot of guys, though. But how many guys are like, oh, yeah, he's got to
So
play.
I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah,
I think
Boutte could be competitive. I'm with Callahan.
I think it's
Boutte
possible.
could be competitive there.
I think it's possible. But I think what's more likely would be that they try to trade him tomorrow during day 3 of the draft, with the fallback being like maybe we put him in the A.J. Brown trade.
Because then you recoup, obviously, some of the draft capital that you're going to lose in this A.J. Brown trade and try to replenish by whatever, if it's 27 or 28, whatever draft that they're dealing from to get A.J. Brown. You go, okay, this is part of the process to get that equity back.
And look, like we talk about, like I feel like we've sort of gone like too far in the way we've talked about AJ or about Jalen Hurts around here. I mean, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts aren't getting along. I think most receivers would be okay playing with Jalen Hurts in that offense. It's just this is a sort of a singular thing here.
So is AJ living in Westwood or North Attleboro? Like,
didn't somebody dig into like real estate records?
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah,
kids play hockey is what I've heard.
I think I saw that. Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of internet sleuths out there.
Julian Edelman hooked him up, with the spot somewhere. He's a big Patriots fan growing up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I think he definitely didn't look the same last year, and I'd caution people to like, is he going to be the 1,400-yard A.J. Brown of 2022 and 2023? I don't know. When I've asked people about that, and I went to the other teams in the division and asked people with the other teams in the division who've actually studied him, and half of them say he has lost a step, and the other half just think he was disinterested last year. And so I think the reality of it probably lies somewhere in between. I mean, he is beat up. He's a bigger receiver. And that's the other thing I think you have to be careful of with these guys is like, you really have to take a dispassionate look at him, and it's harder to do that because Mike's got the relationship with him. But when big receivers lose it, Larry Fitzgerald's the exception because he was able to reinvent himself as a big slot. When big receivers lose it, they sort of lose it fast.
Lose
like
it.
Andre Johnson lost it fast. Julio Jones lost it fast. Like the bigger receiver, those guys lose it fast.
Who had that report about his knees?
I just know every time I talk to Mike Giardi, even casually, he brings it up. So my mind goes to our guy.
Was it him?
And you brought this up.
What, the
I'm
knees?
sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A.J. Brown's knees.
Well,
who had the initial report about A.J. Brown's knees? I'm just wondering.
I've been talking about.
Are you being facetious?
No, was that a Rossini report? I'm serious.
Oh,
was
God.
it?
Oh, come on.
It was.
It's time for a break.
It was.
Remember Max Crosby wanted to play for Mike?
That was a Rossini report too. I'm just saying.
He said that though, out loud.
Do you wonder though about was that knee? And this is fair criticism to bring it full circle. Was that report about A.J. Brown's knees, is that a legitimate report, or was that something, is that done as a favor to kind of muddy the waters in A.J.
I've been
Brown?
talking about that for 2 years.
Okay, so it's legit.
So
thing.
what happened, the genesis of this was the reason that, and Mike understood this too. It wasn't John Robinson going rogue on Mike Vrabel when they traded A.J. Brown in 2022. The genesis of that was the Titans doctors basically told John Robinson and Mike Vrabel, you shouldn't sign him to an extension based on his knee. Like, it's degenerative. It's going to get worse. Now, obviously, that wound up being wrong. He's had a great 4 years in Philly. Yeah. I don't think Philly would regret that trade for a second. They went to 2 Super Bowls and won 1 in A.J. Brown's 4 years there. So, but it was a pre-arthritic degenerative knee condition. And that was why they cautioned John Robinson and Mike Vrabel against signing A.J. Brown long term, which is what led to him being traded on draft day in 2022, and that hasn't gotten better. That's been managed. It's something you got to deal with practice and everything else, and that has not gotten better. And look, it was a factor. I think there were two factors in the Rams backing out last month when that thing got way down the road. The first thing was the knee, and then the second thing was they couldn't have both Devontae Adams and A.J. Brown on the team, and they just they couldn't find a way to thread the needle and get something of value back for Devontae Adams.
Also, Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
Had to get him at 13.
Yeah.
Couldn't pass him up.
They know something we don't, right? That's kind of the Rams' philosophy. When they laughed about Cole Strange, we all laughed about
that was
Ty
a great
Simpson.
laugh. That was a great one.
That was
a great draft moment.
UT Chattanooga. Les was in the Les was in the war room when you were.
That's it.
Yeah, Les was. Well, Michael, Les was in the Falcons war room when you were there. Yeah,
he was.
Yeah. But I will never forget the way he said that. UT Chattanooga.
All right, Bert. Thanks for coming in today. I know you'll be
Thanks,
busy.
guys. I appreciate
He's
it.
Bert Breer, senior NFL reporter, lead content strategist at the MMQB. We got another hour to go. We're going to talk to Max in the next hour, as well as the Celtics play. And, hey, the Bruins played last night, too. We'll have all that coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
traded up 3 spots in a deal with Buffalo, saying Lomu can play almost anywhere across the offensive line, and the team canceled the pre-draft visit with him in Foxborough because the Patriots didn't expect Lomu to be available that late in the first round. However, he will not play left tackle because Will Campbell remains the team starter at that position. Now, prior to the first round, Mike Vrabel stood for a 7-minute press conference and shared he intends to seek counseling starting Saturday, when he will be out of town with his family, yet still available to the Patriots when they are scheduled to make 8 draft picks. Vrabel's comments came hours after the release of 3 additional photos showing him and former NFL insider Diana Rossini by Page 6, this time at a New York City bar in 2020. Another photo also surfaced courtesy of TMZ of the two of them at a Mississippi casino in 2024. Said Vrabel, quote, "I take accountability for my actions and the actions that cause the distraction of the people that I care most about, my family, this football team, the organization, and our fans. My previous actions do not meet the standard that I hold myself to." At TD Garden, the Sabres beat the Bruins 3-1 in Game 3 of their first-round series to reclaim home ice advantage. Buffalo scored 2 third-period goals and benefited from a goalie change as Alex Lyon made 24 stops between the pipes. Game 4 is set for Sunday at 2 p.m. in Boston. Meanwhile, the Celtics are back in action tonight for Game 3 in Philadelphia with their series tied 1-1. Joel Embiid is officially listed as doubtful for the Sixers. The winner of this series will face the Knicks or the Hawks, who played last night in Atlanta for another Hawks upset. The Hawks lead that series 2-1. And at Fenway Park, the Sox fell 4-2 to the Yankees and Walpole's own Cam Schlittler. The good news, Peyton Tolley dominated in his MLB season debut, striking out 11 in 6 innings, allowing 3 hits and 1 run. The Sox now go on the road for a 3-game series at Baltimore and then a trip to Toronto. The NFL draft resumes tonight at 7 p.m. with the Patriots making 1 pick in each of the second and third rounds. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Coors Light. Be game ready with ice-cold Coors Light when the mountains are blue and the puck drops. It's game time. Coors Light, official partner of the Boston Bruins. I'm Andrew Callahan for 98.5 The Sports Hub. Next headlines coming in 30 minutes.
Legendary franchises on one legendary radio station. It's the Sports Hub. When it comes to the show, Hardy thinks the same way you do.
Nothing happened.
He's got the same questions.
Where is the story?
And the same opinions.
Boring.
And he's back with Fred on the Sports Hub.
I'm doing mornings and my body doesn't
got different
know what's
rhythm.
going on.
Right,
exactly.
right.
It's all thrown off. So I appreciate you guys picking me up today.
Michael Holley, in or out on the term Vegas flu?
I'm in on that term.
Doesn't make you think of an STD, like a euphemism for something you caught that you shouldn't have.
No, but it could. It could, because it's an all-encompassing term.
Yes.
So that's why I'm in on it.
The one thing that
because
does not
the Vegas
stay in
flu
Vegas
could mean a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Well, there was fish heads there. There was the fish were at the Sphere in WrestleMania, people. So not much of a crossover there between the two. This just came over to me from Leroy Irvin over at 96.9. The Boston Magazine came out. The 150 most influential Bostonians of 2026.
Where are you on the list? Are you number 17?
I don't think I made that. Are you on there?
All right, but probably not. Of course not. I should not be. I would not respect a magazine that put me in a 150 most influential Bostonians. No, I would not respect that.
Do you think there is somebody in sports media on there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Toucher and Hardy are on that list. I think Felger's on that list.
Felger's definitely on the list.
Felger's probably like top 25 on that list.
Is Zoe influential?
He's influential. I don't think he's making this list though.
Okay. Take a guess on who's on the front cover.
On the front cover, influential Bostonians
of 2026.
Joe Mazzulla.
Nope. Close though.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
You've ever seen this?
Oh, of course. Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel and Drake May.
Oh no.
Another photo. Oh God.
See, they say the Sports Illustrated curse is bad. Boston Magazine curse. Man, that's a hammer right there.
Now, I don't know when it was published.
I think we got to have a press conference. There's another photo. Hey, Mike.
As long as it's not another statement.
Boston Magazine has unearthed the photo.
Imagine they put Drake May in the Madden cover.
Oh God. So I know we got Max coming up, but I figured why don't we just rank do a little tiers of the scandals.
Yeah.
I guess we should just keep it Patriots related, right? Unless there's
yeah,
some outside.
so much
has there
to
been a
choose from.
scandal outside of the Patriots? I guess Ime is on that list.
Chicken and beer.
Oh, chicken.
Yeah, chicken and beer.
That's a good one.
Is it a scandal that the former manager of the Red Sox was dating a Red Sox reporter?
And now married. Or now together, excuse me.
Yeah.
Working together.
Is that a scandal?
I think a GM is also on that list.
Yes. You're right.
Which GM?
A Red Sox GM.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Got it. Yeah, let's rank them.
Well, and of course, I got to give a shout out to Dakota in Braintree who did this. Who's a good dude. I know he actually has done radio in the past. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, I do know this. Now, can I say that one of the scandals? Let's get some ground rules here first. Do you think one of the scandals is in a completely different category and maybe shouldn't be ranked? Is Aaron Hernandez in a completely different category of scandal, or should that just be? Is that in the pool with everybody else? You tell me, Callahan.
No, it's absolutely separate.
Yeah, separate. So we know Aaron Hernandez. If somebody says, "Hey, well, what about Aaron Hernandez?" Accused of 3 murders, and actually got off for 2. He got off for 2 of the 3, which is shocking. 2 of them. Hey, no,
We're speechless.
I mean, it really is.
No, you're right. You're right.
I mean, it's almost like it was. It really is the Al Capone thing. That's what you got me on. You got me on tax evasion. Those 2 murders. He's not guilty on those, but they got him on some weapons charges. I mean, I just that was one of the amazing things for me for Aaron Hernandez. But that's a different category.
That to me is the line is, can you joke about this? Spygate, Deflategate, you might be a Patriots fan who is so sincerely upset, but you can understand when people are making cracks about it.
Yeah,
even if you take it that personally.
So I'm going to take Hernandez off the table.
Murders,
all right.
yeah.
All right, off the table. So other ones.
I think Spygate was one of the worst because it was dumb. Because there was a letter that came out, and it was orchestrated. And I don't know, do they really gain it? What do you think, Mike Hawley? Do you think they really gained an advantage, the Patriots, by videotaping on another sideline and signals, etc.?
All right, do you gain an advantage? Yes. Do you gain an advantage? I think that you gain an advantage. The question with Spygate is, you didn't do anything illegal. See, I think people think Spygate is, hey, I know I'm picking up things from you right now in real time, and I'm using it. So it's 3rd and 3, and I'm going to be able to pick this up right now. I know what you're doing. That's not what it was. The advantage was, and I think it was brilliant in a lot of ways, Spygate, because it's from a different era. It's from a different era. Like, we would do it. We look at it now and we're like, well, why weren't other teams doing that? We record everything. This thing, your phone can do everything. So back in the day, all these guys, they would have these binoculars, these scouts that have binoculars, and they write it down. And Belichick was saying, why are we writing it down? Why don't we just record it and study it? I think it's brilliant. I mean, it's so efficient.
Here I was thinking we had run out of takes 20 years later on Spygate, and here you come in, brilliant.
You don't think it was brilliant?
No. I think that's easy. I think everyone knew it and waved at them in the cameras. I don't say no as in like looking down upon this as some sort of serious crime.
But why didn't other people do it? They flipped out. In other words, Callahan, if we're saying, all right, we're all allowed to look at that golf club over there, that putter. We're allowed to look at that putter. And you're writing down everything about the putter. You're writing it down, just manually writing it. And I say, okay, why don't I just record it? And I can look at it as long as I want to on my own terms. They flipped out. They're like, you can't do that. We're looking at the same thing. Your problem with me is that I've recorded it and you're writing it down.
Because it's prohibited then by league policy. It was the brazenness of it.
But I get it. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
it's more efficient.
They're upset about. They're all doing the same thing. One guy's recording it. One guy's writing it down.
Let me ask you this. So that became famous initially for the giant fine and the first round pick and the initial stain of the legacy, the original sin of all of these scandals. Deflategate's still a little bit bigger. Yeah.
I thought it was stupid.
Oh, it was stupid.
Is that stupid for the Patriots? Stupid by the leagues? Both.
But think about how long that went and the places it took us in terms of courts that were down in New York and Tom Brady's embroiled. And this suddenly becomes a labor battle. Forget the football of it. This is just management versus labor. And then he loses. And then he wins the appeal. And then he loses. But technically, the total judges,
Deflategate had more layers.
It's all of a tie.
Amicus briefs, the Supreme Court.
And here comes
everything.
Jimmy
Ruth
G.
Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, and this is also interrupting a Super Bowl that's going on. And they have to contend with that. And then this goes on. The next season's fine in 2015, but he misses the first 4 games of 2016.
The layers of Deflategate are
I think Deflategate is probably the clubhouse leader. And how about when at the Tom Brady at the roast, his great line, hey, they spent $20 million on it. Look, why not just give the $20 million to me? I can tell you I did it. Great line.
Max can tell you what he's done in his career. He's going to join us next. Cedric Maxwell, the great. Coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Toucher and Hardy.
Let's re-rack that.
Why did you request that this morning, Max?
Because I'm down here in Holly Llama, down here in Philadelphia. You know, you might need some bricks when you go to the game. Who knows what might happen?
I love it.
Well, Cedric Maxwell, the color commentator and analyst on 98.5 The Sports of Celtics Radio Network, is joining us here. Max, any concern level of the Celtics going on the road tonight, considering how well home team's been playing in the playoffs?
I got more concerned right now that a African American is talking to you here, and you have another black man in the studio. That's how much concern I have right now. I think that the Celtics are going to play well. You know, they're meant for this. They play well on the road. This has been one of the best road teams around. Joe Mazzulla, I think, will have them playing well. And Philly, frankly, they shot out their ass the other day. Now, can they do that again? Edgecombe, who reminded me in the last game of a young Andrew Toney, I don't think they can do it again, but I think the Celtics are going to be a little bit more aware of who he is.
So you don't look at it, Max, last night the Knicks lose again, so 2 straight to the Hawks, and now they're down 2-1. And I know because I'm bringing this up because I think a lot of people look at it, hey, Celtics, Knicks, second round, and you just got to get by. The Celtics are going to get by Philadelphia. The Knicks get by Atlanta, no big deal. But now you're down 2-1. You don't look at this as, hey, they really have to settle in. Like this is a real opponent that they're facing tonight in Game 3.
I think they do. I think that they're focused on that. They know that Philly can be dangerous. You start hearing the rumors about Joel Embiid, but I'm like, how do you come back from appendicitis? I mean, I remember having a hernia operation. They told me, look, you can't do anything. You can't cough. You can't laugh. This is for a month. So I don't think Joel Embiid is going to be the one that's going to be affecting the series. I think it's going to be trying to contain Tyrese Maxey. Your guard play the other day with the Celtics was not good, which has been sensational all year long. Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, got outscored by the opposing guards 60-12. And that can't continue to happen. You have to put more pressure on those guys on the opposite side. It's like the Knicks. The Knicks discovered, Atlanta Hawks discovered one thing. What you have to do is you have to attack a guy like Brunson. And what that does offensively, when you attack him and put him in all these situations, it takes his legs away. Celtics have to do the same thing and attack him Maxey and making sure he's going downhill on the other side.
Max, thinking about the Celtics defense, I have a 2-part question for you. Number one, I was doing television with Michael Holley here the other night, and a guy like me who has only picked up a basketball when it's thrown at him was talking about drop coverage and how the Sixers were able to exploit that a little bit and some of the help that they were giving Maxey, that Philly seemed to have answers. A, how do you feel when someone who looks like me talks about things like drop coverage? And then B, what would you do defensively to kind of counter the counters that Philly obviously had going from Game 1 to Game 2?
I think everybody has a plan until Mike Tyson said to you, get hit in the mouth. So in your situation, you picking up a basketball, I don't think I have the fear of it, but I am not a person who's opposed to an analyst or somebody looking at the game and then breaking it down. The drop coverage to me, I talked to a couple of the coaches, and I think they have to do a better job of maybe coming up on the picks and not letting the offense. Because once Tyrese Maxey turns that corner and gets towards the rim, the Celtics have a problem. If he stands behind the three-point line, stands behind the center, and he's wide open for a jump shot, that's his game. That's the same thing that happened with Edgecombe. Both those guys stood behind the picks. So you have to try to speed them up. And that's the thing the Celtics did not do.
Max, what do you think's going on with Derek White and his struggles to either shoot from the three, and also I feel like he's when they do the pick and roll, I think he switches too much. I mean, you're calling all these games. Am I wrong thinking he's switching too much? And what do you think about his shooting struggles at the moment?
Shooting struggles, I think, happen because you're selling out on the defensive end. I mean, he's running around all these picks. If you get any of us running around on all these picks and running and chasing Tyrese Maxey, your energy level on the offensive end sometimes suffers. I'm not concerned about that. I think he's going to get his shot on. switching on these picks, not a bad thing to do if you can get the center to come up a little bit tighter. They have a gap between the center and Derek White when he comes off. And Derek White is normally chasing Tyrese Maxey. He has to do a better job of sending him out on the floor, like send him the long way around, like going essentially, if I want to go to the Garden and I live someplace downtown, I'd go all the way to Milton to then kind of come back to the Garden. They're taking the long way around. They have to do a more direct defensive play when you're playing a guy like that.
You know, I always go back to last year against the Knicks, Max, in the second round, where the Celtics took 100 threes over the first two games, made 25. I'm like, oh, man, what are they doing? So 53-point attempts in game two. Is there a number for you when you see the Celtics with their 3-point attempts where you say, okay, that's too much, or let's try to keep it here? How do you view that? Because that's a big topic with this team and their 3-pointers.
Old man Holly, old man Maxwell. You know, go back to your cave. That is not going to change. Teams are shooting more threes, and you'll talk to Joe Mazzulla sometimes. He said we didn't shoot enough threes. The game has completely changed from what you and I have known.
Right, I got that, but I'm saying, but this particular, but 13 for 50 is maybe that's a better question.
If you have your numbers up, Holly, I don't think that you're going to be bad. If you say you were 20 for 50, if you just make more shots, right now. If you say you shot 53s, that wouldn't bother me. It was just the percentage that you had to make. The thing that bothers me more than anything is when I see a fast break opportunity and all of a sudden they run out to the 3. I would rather take a 2. You know what really pissed me off about everything the other day? I didn't find out until yesterday was that Kada had broken my field goal percentage record, which had been around for the last 40-something years. I was like, what? You did what? I didn't even know it. So that bothered me a little bit more than maybe the 3 points. Tonight, I'm excited about being here in Philly. I almost wish they would somehow could bring back the Spectrum. And it was on a Sunday, and we were playing, and Grover Washington Jr. was playing the music, and Dr. J was running. The juices and the flow, I have to calm myself down when I get down here because I sometimes think I'm a player. And I revert back to thinking how I went in the stands. And, you know, that just didn't seem to be me. But, you know, right now when I go there, I'm thinking like, man, I would do it again if somebody talked to me.
Max, we all know that obviously Tatum and Brown, guys like Maxey, VJ Edgecombe are going to have a big say in how tonight goes because that's the power of being a star. But the longer a series goes, you inevitably get something like the Peyton Pritchard game, the Baylor Shireman game, Ugo Gonzalez. A lot of young guys on the road for the first time in the playoffs. Who do you especially have your eye on tonight?
I like Shireman. I like Shireman because a couple things he can do. He can score the basketball, but he makes defensive plays. I would like that. I wish in some way they could put Luka Garza in, maybe a little bit more, because I love the way he crashes the boards. He can make a difference. So Joe has a lot of different cards he can play, and I think that's what the Celtics are going to do. But if I had to pick one guy in particular, I think it would be Shireman because he has the ability to knock down shots, and he also defends well on the three-point line.
Max, is there another team in the East you think that could come out outside of the Celtics? The Celtics are the favorites right now. We know New York lost again last night. The Pistons have at least, they ended up coming back after a bad loss. But is there another team you think that could come out outside of the Celtics?
Yeah, that's hard. My favorites would be Detroit and Boston. Now, the thing that could happen is you're watching Orlando. Orlando has gotten healthy all of a sudden. They're playing with a purpose. They're playing that they've taken the lead. They're going home to play. Van Carroll can be so tough, and Wagner can be so tough when they're playing. And I think more than anything, Mosley, their coach, his basketball life is on the line right now, because if they don't win this series or get close or go deeper, I don't think Orlando's going to have him back. I love him as a coach, But right now, it seems to be a lot of discord in Orlando with some of the things he's doing. So Orlando will be the team I pick.
What's your read on the Knicks? I mean, I brought them up earlier, and not that Mike Brown is coaching for his basketball life, but he replaced Tibbs, and the whole thought was, yeah, hey Tibbs, you got to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's not quite enough. We want a little bit more, and we want a better, a more diversified rotation and all that. What do you make of the Knicks being down 1-2 to the Hawks? Do you think that is sustainable?
I think that I've already picked the Hawks to win this series. And the reason I picked them because I think they have better defenders. They've gotten the lead now. Kuminga, who has escaped from Golden State, is playing well. They have some tough rebounders. And what they can do, they can put pressure on Karl Anthony Towns. That's going to be a referendum on him to score the basketball. And we've seen sometimes where he's just kind of faded. But my pick starting in the beginning of the series was Atlanta Hawks in 6.
In 6?
In 6.
All right.
Did I stutter?
No, you did not. You did not stutter. So they're up. So you got them winning Game 4, right?
Yes.
Win Game 4, then go back to New York, lose, and then finish it off in Atlanta?
Come home in hot Atlanta and get it done. And I don't mean going down to Magic City with the chicken wings and nothing like that. I mean, they're going to get it done right there in their building.
Max, we know by now Joe Mazzulla is going to take home Coach of the Year any day. I don't know when it's going to be announced, but we know he thinks it's stupid. What would you tell Joe Mazzulla about those comments and the fact he might win an award that some great coaches never win? Or is he right?
Joe Mazzulla, I think, he's going to accept it in a happy way. But it's going to be not the way we like to see it done. Like, oh my God, thank you. I appreciate this. Joe Mazzulla wants to deflect anything away from him that he can. And he continues to do that. And he's more about winning these games. If there's one, you think of coaches over the years, I always think in Boston, only a couple coaches I think have been liked. Doc Rivers, I think, probably the skipper. Who was the guy? I just forgot it. Mind farted a minute ago, but was with Cleveland and coached for the Cleveland Indians.
Tito Francona.
Francona. There's only a couple of coaches that really, really been liked. Most of the other coaches you think that have been around, Belichick, the Bruins coaches, none of these guys have been liked. And Joe Mazzulla likes to be on the same page with that. He doesn't want you to like him. He wants you to just leave him alone and let him coach. He doesn't want the popularity contest. So for him to get it, I think it's a no-brainer to me the way his team has played, considering, not having Tatum for most of the year, matching up, this lineup, which we thought would be a gap year. Did any of you guys did you think that the Celtics would be this far along? Did you think that the Celtics would be in second place? Nobody really saw that coming except Joe Mazzulla. And then you see Jaylen Brown turn into an MVP candidate. This has been a crazy year for the Celtics.
Max, before we let you go, do you have an opinion on the Mike Vrabel situation?
I use those words stupid. I always say that. But it just goes to show you cannot get away in this world anymore. That's the thing about you. I'm so happy I didn't play now because of all the cameras. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody has this stuff. And I tell you, the Vrabel thing is I agree with you guys. The Deflategate was a lot more crazy with the layers. But in today's society, this is going to build momentum. With him going where he did and supposedly pictures of him in a bar and all this other stuff. I mean, he has to deal with a lot, and I think the Patriots were smart trying to sneak that all in on, the page on, I think, Marathon Day, and also the Celtics were playing that day. And okay, Vrabel, go out there and say something. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for him. But, stupidity has never been a thing that, us athletes have gotten away with, or coaches.
Alrighty.
Yeah, if we were traveling, Max, as we used to back in the day, I would say something else that was not on the air, but it is some. This is something. Let's put it this way. Here's the G-rated version. This is something that has felled many great men over the years, right?
Yes. It really has, and coaches, politicians, whatever it is. I mean, isn't that the thing in the Bible, Samson and Delilah? Isn't that something that Adam and Eve was the first one. You do anything you want to, you can live forever, Adam, but just don't eat that apple. What did Eve say? Hey, go ahead and eat that apple. Temptation is always something when you think about powerful men and situations in sports that will continue to happen.
All right, Max, our research team, Ryan Garvin, you had 750 attempts. You made 457 shots. Kata, 499 attempps, made 326.
That sucks, really. It really sucks.
It does. It does. Come on, man.
It really sucks. I remember telling me that. I said, I think that year I averaged 16.9 and shot 62% from the field. And he shot almost half the shots I shot. But, I give him credit. Now, I really pick at him because there's no doubt that we did not see him being this center. In the gap year, Kate has done a phenomenal job. And Jaylen Brown said he should be comeback player of the year or something like that because he has been a real difference maker. I don't think any of us saw him trotting out after you lose Al Horford in that situation or Porzingis. You didn't see him being the next man up and going 82.
Well, Max, it's only right that we fix this. So I think the rest of today, you talked to Kata about how many threes he should take tonight in the weakness and Philly's defense, and then I think we got your record back.
Get that record back. And the other, that's only the second worst thing, Max. Going back, I always go down these rabbit holes. I always watch NBA Finals games during the summer. It's just something that I do. You were robbed of another. You should have 2 Finals MVPs because you kicked James Worthy's ass. In 84, you should have won MVP for that.
No, not really. Larry Bird deserved it.
Come on, what would you do in game? How many times you go to the line in Game 7? 20?
I can give you the line. 24, 8, and 8. I can give you
the line bro.
Of what the line was. But Larry Bird was sensational in that series. I just happened to have a surreal Game 7. But that was my forte. I love big games. And Larry carried us, and I finished it. So I'll just say that. And all these people saying I hate Larry Bird. I love Larry Bird. One of my favorite athletes of all time. One of my favorite teammates of all time. So before people start getting carried away, oh, you hate Larry and you're throwing at Larry. No, I played and won 2 championships with Larry. Here's the thing I'll say before I let you guys go. They always say this thing about there was the big 3. Well, there were 4 Musketeers at one time. Or, even with the Beatles, there were 4 of those guys. But Ringo always gets shafted. I always feel like I'm Ringo. I'm the Black Ringo. That's who I
am. What a walk-off. There you go.
Cedric Maxwell will be on the call tonight here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Yeah, here we go, Max. It's for you, baby. Thanks, Max. Enjoy the game tonight, bud.
All right, gentlemen.
Thanks, Max.
All right, Max.
Yeah. My dad. All right, boys, it's time to eat. Andrew Callahan's going to get you caught up on headlines here. We'll take a quick break. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
The NFL Draft resumes tonight at 7 p.m. with the second and third rounds, where the Patriots are scheduled to make picks at
The mic's on.
I don't know what it is. I don't have time to think about that right now.
Hunter and Hardy.
It's ridiculous.
The Sports Hub.
You are an all-star today, Nick Gemelli. Shout out to our friends over at In a Pickle Restaurant in Waltham, Tim. I said, hey, we want an order. I know you're not open yet. And he said, here you go. Here's the menu. And I got the hot honey chicken and waffles. Mike Hawley did too.
As did I.
Andrew Callahan, not sure if you've been able to dip in over there yet.
Andrew Callahan went. He didn't go morning. Andrew Callahan went night. He got a night order. I know this is a
brunch
morning.
order.
It's kind of this is night. He got steak. Brought the steak.
Steak and
eggs. Steak and eggs, and a little wheat toast on there.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah. What do you put on your eggs?
Just ketchup, maybe a little salt, but that's about it. If I'm making them at home, a little bit of milk.
Put milk in there.
Just a splash. Give it a little bit more air.
Okay.
Before scrambled.
You sound like an accomplished. Do you cook? You sound like you know what you're doing in the kitchen.
No comment.
All right, not a cook.
I air fry. I'm the king of the air fryer.
It's a personal matter.
It's a personal. Thank you, and that's the other thing. That's the other line. Personal matter. Thank you for respecting it.
And we all backed out. We're like, no, bro.
Okay, all right,
I will say I make a mean chicken parm. That I got my own touch and a little.
Yeah, a little egg flour.
Yeah.
Do you use a mallet to beat the chicken?
Mm-hmm. We get some. It's all about what you add to kind of the seasoning of it before you fry it and then pop it in the oven. So I get a little garlic powder in there. We get some red pepper flakes, some basil, sprinkle parsley.
Oh, you know what you're doing. I can just tell the way you're talking.
I'm telling you, I'm a one pitch pitcher.
No,
that is it.
No. You know what you're doing. Say this is just rolling off the tongue. It's a little too easy for you talking about this stuff.
Don't ask me about another dish. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's a private and personal matter.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Private and personal. Hey, how about I gave you private and personal?
That's right.
So he went redundant on you. Said the same thing. It's private. It's personal. Okay.
Yeah, like with the Mike Vrabel situation, but we'll get into the Mike Vrabel stuff. Just real quick, you ever notice when food comes to somewhere? Like me, I have a sniffer. The sniffer was right yesterday, by the way. Sniffer, I knew there was more to that Vrabel thing. The sniffer. I'm not a reporter. I'm not a sleuth, but the sniffer never lies. But when the food came, did you notice all the other stations just kind of? What do you guys got there?
Hey, what is this? In a pickle, huh? Okay. What's in there? Hey, that's Andrew Callahan's. Back off. It's private and personal. Private and personal. Now, that's the thing. Okay. Now, what is that over there?
I also gave away a sausage, egg, and cheese. It was not mine to give away. I said, yeah, sure, you can have that.
Yeah, sure.
So if anyone's gone hungry.
There's a giant cake there, too, for anybody that wants that. And
no, they hooked us up. They brought a lot. They brought a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they're great, and thank you to the friends over there. Again, I wanted to come through today, and
you did.
There was one place I wanted to go, and I'm happy, but nothing's open early in the morning. Like we're here too early to kind of get anything. Like you have to prepare it. It needs to be something that's like something that you order in advance. But they came through. They were closed. So thank you very much, In a Pickle, for
Yeah, he did want to come through because we talked about this on Wednesday, Callahan. We started talking about breakfast spots, some of the best breakfast spots, and it's hard to get it. You don't want it somewhere between. You don't want the classy place where they're using like the nice silverware and the nice linens and all that stuff. Okay, I don't need all that, but somewhere between that and just a greasy spoon and just throwing it all together, but somewhere it's got a little bit of flavor.
A good diner. Give me a checkered tablecloth, stuff that's clearly a couple dollars cheaper than you could charge me, but you're not.
Yeah.
We get the coffee. We don't even ask. I don't drink coffee. They pour it. I'm not going to say anything. It's going to go to someone that I'm with. And there's a step above that's kind of the sweet spot, but then I feel like the price jumps up so much in a way that you go, okay, I really got to eat a lot for this to be worth it.
Yeah, Callahan. San Francisco, this is a perfect example in San Francisco. Like I like to go to the city, so we were out there for the Super Bowl. I like to go to a city and just put some boots on the ground, just kind of walk around and feel the city. I'm not really a runner, but sometimes when I'm in the mood to run, I like to run around the city and just figure out, where things are. So I said, okay, I'm in this hotel. I don't want to just go to the hotel breakfast. That's uninteresting. That doesn't really represent the city. I want to find a diner in San Francisco. I can sit down at a diner. So there were a couple of places right down the street from the hotel. Fine. Walked there. Got there about 5 minutes before they opened. The menu's on the window. And I looked at those prices. I'm like, you're not a diner. You're a fake diner. You got prices that are higher than this whole overpriced hotel I'm staying at. So if you're going to be a diner, one of the rules is you have to be slightly below market with your prices. Slightly below, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're at the same prices of a hotel, what are you doing?
You're supposed to be a volume shooter.
And what they're doing.
Bringing a lot more customers. We get you in quickly. We get you
know what
out.
they probably were doing? Hey, it's the Super Bowl. Our prices are a little lower normally. But we have these jamokes coming in from Boston and Seattle. And you know what? We'll just pump up the prices just like everybody else is
I think it's even simpler than that. I think they said, we have from Boston, Michael Holley and Michael Felger. They're going to walk by. We'll take their money, we'll jack it up, and then when they're gone, that's it. We know the big bucks are coming from Boston. That's what it is.
Is that what it was?
Of TV fame and radio, when you feel like it, and Felger's here.
I'll tell you one thing I do cook every once in a while. So I have a rice pot, put that in there for a little bit, crack an egg or two, right on top of the egg, a little yolky in there. Oh! Just a nice little egg on top of rice. I'm telling you, it hits every single time. Maybe a little splash. You could do hot sauce.
What do you call that?
I don't know.
Rice on egg.
In or out on egg on a burger?
I'm going to say I'm out on that.
I'm out too.
Yeah. Because I don't want to mess with the integrity of the burger.
Also, you get to the middle and then the yolk, if it's not totally fried, pops, and then we got a mess.
It's hard to contain. Then it starts to ooze.
And as someone who wears part of his burger anyway, without just can't help it.
I once made mac and cheese on top of a burger.
I can see that. That's fine.
Rolled a nice ball on top of it, smushed it right.
Did you take a nap after?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
Dude, last night I got home last night. I ordered 99 Gold Fever wings. I ate like 3 of them, passed out. Saw the Red Sox lost. The draft was at the 25th pick, and I watched the New York Knicks lose. And I'm like, hey, I woke up just in time.
You watched the New York Knicks lose, not get off a final shot. That was entertaining. The Red Sox for a while were entertaining.
Peyton Tolley.
Right? Peyton Tolley was bringing. I mean, that crowd. There's a Fenway crowd. The Fenway crowd was into it.
We were talking about this the other night. You can't be bad and boring, so who's going to bring the spice?
Right.
If we're not fighting Yankees on the mound, you need someone who's bringing some electricity. I love the 11 strikeouts. Arguably just as much was him screaming to no one.
Oh, yeah.
Fist pumping, flexing. Like, you got to create your own energy, your own momentum here, even in defeat.
Especially if you're not going to hit home runs.
Yeah.
If you're going to be last in the league in home runs, believe it, the Boston Red Sox last in baseball in home runs, then you got to give me a guy who can strike out 11 in 6 innings or, strike out 15. Like something, you got to give me something incredible because we all want to see home runs, and you're not giving it to us.
All right, there was something that happened in the Bruins game last night.
It's cold, Michael. That's why there are no home runs.
It's too cold.
Oh, yeah.
Too cold.
Yeah.
Too cold.
What's that? When the weather warms up, we warm up. Okay. I'll wait for that.
Yep. Something happened in the Bruins game last night that I wanted to talk about on the other side. It's Andrew Callahan, Michael Holley. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Fanatic Sportsbook is turning up the heat with squad bets. It's a new way to parlay available across NBA, MLB, and NHL. You can build your own squad of players from the sport you want and pick your market. Points, rebounds, strikeouts, goals, and set your target. Then you sit back and watch your squad go to...
take, and then you have a chance to go up 2-0.
Yeah, man.
Against Alex Lyon, who was thrown into the mix, who ended up being outstanding in the game, and it was the right move, and I wonder if that is the turning point in the series.
The turning point in the series, I think, was that penalty shot. Was that missed penalty shot? You make that. It's not just it's your second goal, but you're up 1-0 at the time, and you go up 2-0. Now you start to mess with the minds of the Buffalo Sabres, because in game one you go up 2-0 on them, and you hold that for about 52 minutes, and then you collapse. Game two, you go up 4-0, and then you look like you were going to threaten a collapse, but you hold on and win 4-2. And then game three, the always pivotal game three, if you go up 2-0 there at home, now you're messing around with the Buffalo Sabres. I think they calmed down. I thought that was a big stop there for Lyon, and they calmed down after that. And so you look at the momentum for him. He goes 7 for 7 when he was just kind of thrust into the game early third period, game two. And then last night was 24 out of 25? So he's 31 of his last 32.
Yep.
He's not that guy, but he's playing like that guy right now. You know, we've seen this before in hockey. Like, okay, this guy's really not that good, but why is he so good right now?
Well, that's what gives me hope. I mean, I'll tell you, I didn't see a second of game three, but I watched game one and I watched game two. And, of course, last night wasn't the only chance that the Bruins had to go up 2-0 in a game. It blew it. Like, there's still a small part of my brain that is occupied on Morgan Geekie with the most open net you will ever see in a playoff game going, what if? What if? Because, look, you can interpret these events and the what ifs as much as you want in the playoffs, and eventually you run out of time and whatever happened. But I just think if you're the Bruins, you go, we have screwed this up more in a way that if we just take care of simple or hit those type of shots, we're back in this series. You called game three pivotal. I love a good game four. This goes for basketball too, because pretty much all of the X's and O's have been exercised. I know your counter to what I did. We've had my counter to counter. Like things that Waters kind of found its level schematically. It's just who's playing cleaner hockey. The Bruins know they haven't played cleaner hockey to this point because of those collapses. And look, that's part of built into Bruins hockey this season are the giveaways. I just think if you win game four, you're back to where you were for most of the series, which feeling like not only we have a shot, we've got control of most of the play here so far.
But see, I don't know how you felt about this. Like last night, it's not. See, I would rather lose and then say, "Oh yeah, we lost because we didn't do this well. We didn't do this well." Last night was a pretty clean game for the most part, and then Buffalo was just able to get past you with Lyon looking energized, a reimagined Lyon. Now suddenly they have a good goaltender when that was one of the areas coming into the series. You say, okay, I know we're better there. We got him there. Now it looks pretty even. There's nothing obvious that you take from game three and say, if we eliminate that, we'll be fine for game four. I don't think so. Did you see it that way, Joe?
No, because they missed the shot, and a minute later on a one-timer, boom. Like it was, and Marco Sturm said it after the game, said it was a big swing. He also said the bench was not the same, let's put it that way. So
and the third line had been pretty good. Again, coming from games 1 and 2 here. But you're saying Lyon's not that guy. So it's
but he is.
He's good.
Not. He's not. But he is.
I mean,
in this series,
he might be the guy,
and that's all he needs to be. Like that's not lost in me.
Yeah.
I think there's just reason to hope for some regression here that would help the Bruins. But look, you're still counting on your top line to play the way it has most of the series, and obviously Swayman's going to need to do a little bit more if they're going to win games like that swung on such a pivotal moment.
So through 3 games, I thought the Bruins had the advantage going into last night. I think Buffalo does now. And, the Bruins were the best team at home in hockey. It just didn't show it. Going up 2-0 on a penalty shot, that's showing it, right? That's now the other team coming back. Wow, what a swing. That's why I wanted to play the sound because that was it. I even tuned out. I think after that I went, oh, boy, here we go.
Oh, man. Got to have this one.
Deflating, not to bring up a segment that we've done earlier today. But
didn't really finish that segment, by the way.
No, it was rushed.
Even Max brought it up.
We rushed it.
He did.
We didn't get to all the scandals because there's so many scandals, and we didn't get to the scandal of the day. And the scandal of the day, I'm just reading about it. Nora Princiati writing about it in The Ringer. Headline: Mike Vrabel's hubris made him the main character of the NFL draft. So this is the story, and she says he's the story. It wasn't Fernando Mendoza who wasn't there. It wasn't anything surprising or anything viral in the first round. She says the story is Mike Vrabel. That's why this scandal is going to be. This is a top 3 scandal already.
So my old friend Alex Reamer wrote about this today. I didn't know he was still writing. I read it today on Awful Announcing. Is this the first scandal they actually can't control?
Cannot control?
Because Deflategate, they controlled some of some people are hidden, right? We're still looking for Dorito Dink.
Yeah.
Where's that guy, right? There's some things from, even when it came to Spygate, there's things they can control, or at least the tapes are gone. This one they can't
Robin
control.
Glazer. We saw a reenactment.
No, but the Pats
came down with the hammer.
The hammer.
Oh God!
Speaking of someone who's also now missing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so funny, but like when you had Gerard Mayo here, who was a decent human, I liked him. The team sucked, but you get a good coach. Is this what it is now? Like you want a polarizing figure? There might be something a little bit more than just the game.
Like a fan deal with the Devils, what you're saying?
Yeah.
Can't have it all.
Yeah, but you think about they really have had a clown show for various reasons at the head coaching spot since 2022? I mean, Bill started it. Now, this is it's not equal, but Bill, what the hell, dude? You're really going to make Matt Patricia your offensive coordinator? You're doing that? You're really making Joe Judge your wide receivers coach or quarterbacks coach? So you think about Bill on the field with the coordinator thing. Then you think about Bill with Jordan. We got the ring camera. This is your head coach. And ring camera. Looking for his car because it's about to get towed. So he's stumbling out on somebody's back porch looking for his car. Gerard Mayo. A lot of comical things. Things that just was not ready for the moment. He thought he was groomed for the moment, was not ready for it. And now you got your head coach in photos in Tribeca at a resort in Sedona, dancing on a rooftop, looking at him like, what the hell? This is really it. New England Patriots head coaches have been a story for one reason or another for at least 3 or 4 years.
Never mind the source that told Karen and I in that original story, like, I love Bill, but he effed us.
Yeah, like that's the quote. That quote just
like it just things you never thought you'd hear, and then obviously we go through the 23 season, the second half of which after Kern had his report, what's coming at the very end, and obviously Gerard, and it's equal parts stunning because the pivot from 8-9 had to be the nadir. Oh no, here comes 4-13. Okay, well Gerard is a modernized coach. He's a young coach. He's going to invigorate the building. They got a rookie coach, but they'll be on the way up. They sink even further. And then from the depths of that despair and losing, back to the Super Bowl. And I don't think that this, crest as they go back down is much more PR related. And as Joe just referenced in that story by Alex Reimer, yes, maybe not the first one they can't control, but they've had no control over this. And all of their efforts thus far to get control over it have backfired.
All of them. It's just failing. It is failing.
It's been a disaster.
It has been failing PR, starting with the very first moment, the first step from Mike Vrabel to think. Now, when Nora Princiati says his hubris, I think the hubris starts with, I got it. I got this. I got this. Oh, New York Post? They're going to come out. They got pictures. And he waits. They give him a couple of days, and your response is, this is laughable. I have nothing else to say about this. It's laughable. Okay. All right, man. So that was the first misstep. And I just feel like they're chasing it. They're chasing it. We may not be done with press conferences from Mike Vrabel.
I agree with you on this one. No more statements. Like, no more statements. They just get out there. Get in front of this one. I don't know if Kraft will talk. You know what? I wanted to tell you guys this. Last week, I had a chance to talk to Lee Steinberg. He's guy's been around for
the
years,
legend,
right?
huh?
Yeah,
the legendary agent? Yeah.
And I flat out asked him, hey, man, do you think we're going to hear anything? He has a relationship with Robert Kraft. And he goes, they're not going to mention anything. And this was his, almost like advice. So were they better off saying nothing? Like, in the end, right, if they just kind of let everything play out, do we see these videos? Do we see these photos that are coming out?
Yeah.
Does all that still happen?
The second is a great point. I would say the 6-year, the COVID photos never pop up if Mike Vrabel doesn't say anything. If he doesn't say anything about it, I don't think they come back and go, okay. I think the COVID photos were kind of like a response to his defiance and her defiance.
Well, it's also anyone who's ever seen one of them years ago going through their photos being like, man, where do we see them? Where were we? Tribeca? No, we were. Oh, it was Tribeca.
It was.
Let's send that photo to XYZ and make a little bit of money. I think, though,
COVID?
the opposite would be true in that if you own the truth, it can no longer be weaponized against you.
Yes.
And look, I do not expect man allegedly carrying on what, based on the photos, may or may not have been a 6-year affair to suddenly own up to it. Like, man has affair, lies about it, is a tale as old as time. But it was just such an all-in bet, right, before you saw the rest of the cards on the table, that then, just in poker, you lose your fate to whatever those cards turn up. And it turns out cards are coming in from all over the place, and your hand is a loser. So when you talk about playing catch-up, to me, we can get into the PR semantics. What happened last night, a more detailed statement, taking actual questions, should have happened Tuesday. Because then even if more stuff comes out, which you can't control, and they can't, you at least then can make a statement and be like, I've already committed to the counseling. This is what I decided, and go away from there.
Andrew, great point. And this is, and just to be clear, this is not me saying, how could you do that?
Right.
How could you do that? No, Mike, how could you do Diana, how could you do that to your family? Okay, that's not for me to say.
Not at all.
It is more of, once you've done it, okay, how do you manage it? What's your messaging? And I think the messaging fell apart. So her messaging was to come out on the attack as well. Hey, I'm resigning, but I'm not resigning because I agree with what you're saying about me. I'm resigning because I'm just going to step away from this. I'm going to step away from the fray. I understand why she would fight and lie. I understand why she would do it. It's a great gig. Callahan, if the Athletic came to you, and as much as you love the Boston Herald, the Athletic comes to you and says, hey, Andrew Callahan, you're the best, man. You are really good. And we want to give you over $1 million a year. You got a wife, got a kid. Over $1 million a year to be our NFL insider. Joe, you'll be like, and we're now doing the show with the NFL insider for the Athletic, Andrew Callahan. Right?
It's a private and professional matter.
Okay.
Let's take a couple of calls. I know some people want to get in on this.
That's a private and personal matter.
I get it. Okay, yeah, I understand.
They must have just heard about my chicken parm. That's what that is. It's not anything to do with my national reporting.
We got Angelo and Everett. Angelo.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Good.
I see this going two ways, okay? Either he's going to be suspended for a year and Josh McDaniels is going to come in and take over, or he's gone. This is going to get bigger and bigger. And they said they're not investigating him for conduct. I don't know about that one. That's a lot of conduct. That's going to make another stain on the Patriots' legacy.
Is there any Michael McCann wrote something really good yesterday, basically saying that Vrabel did have his rights violated. This is a private matter here. There could be some legality. Maybe this is the counseling that's happening, but could it be something that is detrimental to the team? I know Roger Goodell kind of brushed it under the rug yesterday, but could it be anything that's detrimental to the team based off of maybe information he was giving her and she was giving him?
No, I wouldn't say, and you tell me what you think, Andrew. I don't think the photos and the relationship is detrimental to the team. What's detrimental to the team would be potentially Mike Vrabel just not having the same investment, the same energy for doing everything. Mike Vrabel, I looked at him last year and said, that guy must be exhausted. He puts everything into, he knows all the players' names. He knows the staff members' names. He's into the front office. He's into the coaching staff and the players, and he knows the media. This is knows the media. Anyway, he's so into it. But they love it. That is him. What if he scales that down a bit? That could affect the team.
Well, that's what we were talking about with Breer, and his advice was, if he's ownership, to say to Vrabel, like, go back and get yourself right and come back, which, look, I think part of that should do what Mike was talking about yesterday, which is prioritize your family. The people wounded here most immediately are those around you. Take care of that. Football will come and go. Your family is forever. But to your point, and this is why I described them as the sun around which the rest of the organization revolves. They have built out this new operation, not with a new facility where they're going into work every day, but from the mind and the will of Mike Vrabel. So when that's altered, that's lesser. It brings everything else down around it. And it's not because the vibes are bad. It's because, according to Bert and according to Mike Giardi, he's not himself as much the last 2 weeks. And we all know why. But if that continues, it will negatively impact the team, which now has not only had to answer this, anyone who is close to Mike Vrabel or second reach out, like, they're getting asked about it. Strangers are asking me at engagement parties, and I have no idea who they are. But we're talking about people coming together here today, not those who are splitting apart. So, which is all of which is to say, a lot is at stake all with one person. And when you make that big of a bet and that much of an investment, there's a lot of responsibility there and some risk. And they're feeling both of those right now.
These strangers ask you what you think of Mike Vrabel, and before you can answer, they tell you what they think of Mike Vrabel, right? Isn't that how it happens?
No, this poor woman who, like, this engagement party, they said grace. It was the most polite, like, God-loving engagement party there was. She wondered if it was illegal. Like, could he face criminal charges? She's like, friends of mine are really concerned. Like, could this? I was like, what? Like,
what's illegal? Cheating?
I was like, are they doing the, hey, the Jets got called for holding, take a first-round pick away from the Patriots joke? Is that what's going on? Like, what's happening here? Like, no, calm down. Everything's okay. Sweet woman. I just was glad to, relieve her at that point of her anxiety, but this was 2 weeks ago. So who knows? Maybe there are arrests.
Our friends at In a Pickle wanted to add to the conversation we were having.
This should be sponsored by In a Pickle is what it should be.
In a Pickle. Perfect.
Josh McDaniels hired the PI for the photos. Next level gamesmanship to be the head coach.
So I described Joe yesterday. Was it yesterday? How long has it been? As when Josh McDaniels comes up, his feet just come off the ground. And he doesn't know where he's going to go. Like, he's had fizzy lifting drink at Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Yeah. And all of a sudden we look up and Joe is just so consumed with conspiracy and ideas and anxiety about what happens around Josh McDaniels. We just like, how did you get up there, Joe? And I tried to bring him down. And if you're floating up now, man, I'm not going to tell you to come down because you might be right.
Yeah, Mike, I'm a known offensive coordinator here. I had so many nicknames for
gets a little crazy.
Alex Van Pelt that you couldn't believe.
I get that one. I understand that.
I do agree that Josh McDaniels had a big input on the success of the season last year.
Oh, you think? You're willing to...
Very brave of you, Joe, to finally admit that.
Wow.
Very brave.
But
did you see the Super Bowl? My God.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
I mean, they threw one deep ball. And they didn't do much at all.
Why did they throw one deep ball? Because every time the quarterback took a step back or two, he had somebody in his chest because the left tackle couldn't block anybody. Yeah. Or not just the left tackle and the left guard too. They really had a tough.
Yeah, you're right. That's why they probably drafted a tackle.
I know we got to go to break, so I just want to put a bow on the Vrabel and consequences
by the way,
conversation with this.
Before you say that, I just want to say, Mike Vrabel is in a pickle. It is brought to you by In a Pickle. Try our chicken and waffles, and also Andrew Callahan loves our steak and eggs. He gets his steak medium rare. Go ahead.
Yes, he does.
And we toast.
Roger Goodell before the draft. Again, I cracked about it in the update. Softball interview with ESPN. Roger, what's your favorite moment of the draft? How excited are you? Well, Vrabel came up, and this is a real quote that the commissioner of the National Football League, you got to say it out when you're extra serious, National Football League said, quote, "This is not a personal conduct policy as we know of today. It's a personal matter, and we'll leave it at that." What? It's not a personal conduct policy, parentheses situation. It's a personal matter. Oh.
But listen.
Forgive me.
But listen.
For being so confused. I get it now.
Listen, think about the quote. It's not a personal conduct matter. Okay? The word personal is in personal conduct.
Yes.
It's a personal matter.
That's what I'm saying. How is this person the front-facing, highest-paid leader of the biggest sports league in America. It's not personal. It's just personal. And here's my dismount. We'll leave it at that. Back to you, Greeny.
We'll leave it at that. Have more next here on the Sports Hub.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sport.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Well, the email bid, powered by Jeffrey Glassman Injury Lawyers. If you have been hurt in a car or work accident, you got to get Glassman. Don't just send an email. Call all 7-617-777-7777 or visit gottagetglassman.com. Whenever I see that ad, I think about, I grew up in the city of Boston. There were two things that were interesting growing up. One, there was a phone number that you could call for the time and the weather. So you could, hey, what time is it, or what's the weather? You can just, I think it was like 637-1234. And then the other thing about growing up in the city was we had Cablevision, which was A and B trunk. So I don't know, all the regular channels were like on the A trunk, but all the other ones, the advanced ones, the premium channels, were on the B channels. And we had this little thing in the city, Mike, where if you put your channel 2 on your TV and hit like 23B was Playboy, 24B was the Spice Channel. I'm not sure if you guys remember the Spice Channel at all. But every once in a while, you could hear the sound of what was going on in the station. You just couldn't see the picture.
Get the picture.
But you could hear it. So that was a nice little Boston thing growing up. Now it's all just digital, and you can't manipulate anything anymore.
So I thought you were going to say, you had the A and B channels, A and B trunks, and you had a neighbor who could hook it up for free
with the black box.
Yeah, did you have that? Did you have a neighbor who could? Everybody, you got to have a neighbor who could do it.
And it was. I used it for wrestling.
Okay.
Pay-per-view. Or
you were the neighbor. They said, hey, talk to Joe. You want to get cable?
I got something now though, and it's legal. I can tell you off the air though. I don't want.
Okay, you said I can tell you. You sound like Roger Goodell. I can tell you something. It's legal, but off the air.
So, anyways, that was like memories of growing up in the city.
Is it legal, meaning like less exciting?
No.
Want to use it?
No, I just don't want it to like get in trouble or blow it up. It's my own little,
All right.
My own honey hole, as I like to call it. The phone lines are loaded, guys. Why don't we?
Let's rip through them.
Let's talk to my buddy Riz in East Providence. What's up, Riz?
What's going on, fellas, man? Good morning. Good morning. My boy Holly in the building. That's what's up. Good to see you.
Hey, Riz.
Callahan,
good morning.
Definitely a pleasure to see you. Joe, it's always a pleasure to see you, my man.
Always.
But first and foremost, shout out to the YouTube, Twitch fam. Shout out to my boy Keith, man. He lost his son. He's going through it. He got a job, so he's doing well. Keith, if you're listening, shout out to you, fam. But let's talk about this Vrabel situation, and I'm going to give you the real deal, holy feel, man. It's just upsetting that Udoka got fired. They put that boy on that Logan. Matter of fact, they brought him to Logan so fast, his coffee was still hot. But yet, Vrabel still got a job? It don't make no sense, and to me, I hate to say it, I'm going to call a spade, but it feels like Vrabel got the complexion for the protection, fam. Honestly. That's all I got.
Okay. All right, Riz. Appreciate it. I feel like this came up yesterday. Somebody brought up Udoka. It wasn't Riz. Udoka and Vrabel and the difference. And the difference is not the complexion. The difference is employment. This was a workplace issue. Now, it's the same workplace but different responsibilities. So let's say Ime Udoka, not the most powerful man in the Celtics organization, but let's say there's ownership, there's Brad Stevens, and basketball operations. Then there's Ime Udoka, right, for the Celtics, and he was involved with someone who was considered to be. I have to say a different phrase because I was going to say under him, but he brought somebody who had less power than he did, but they're working for the same employer, and so the employer says we don't want this. Told Udoka, hey, you got to stop. The thing continued, and it became a messy workplace issue within the same workplace. The Patriots, private workplace with their guy, and then Diana Rossini working for another employer, had her issue, and I know there's an interaction between the two, and there is a power dynamic between the two as well. I believe so. I know a lot of people don't agree with that. I think there's a power dynamic, power imbalance between Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel. But it's just the Celtics made the decision about an in-house problem, whereas the Patriots, it's up to the Patriots to decide if this is fireable or not. The Athletic said, yes, it is fireable. It does not meet our standards. So her complexion is the same as Mike Vrabel's. So the Athletic said, no, we don't want it because that's not really journalistic standards as far as we're concerned, because they're a journalism operation. The Patriots, a football operation, says, hey, you know what? We want to keep him.
Well, the power dynamic is at the heart of that Ime story, and here's a paragraph from the ESPN story written then by Woj when he was still their chief NBA insider. Quote, the power dynamic associated with a superior's improper relationship with a staff member, meaning Udoka, was the primary finding and policy violation cited in the law firm's report, which was commissioned by the Celtics and completed early last week, sources said. So Mike Vrabel here has a moral issue. There's no ethical one. There's nothing in that personal conduct policy for the NFL that says you can't allegedly have an affair. It's just not in there. They care about the rules. They care about their business. That's it. Diana Rossini had a moral and ethical issue. Ime Udoka had a moral and ethical issue because of his responsibilities as someone who had power within the organization and, according to this investigation, leveraged it during an improper relationship. That's the line of the difference there.
And just so you know, a lot of companies, like I've worked for tech companies in Boston, if there is a relationship, you have to let it be known.
Disclose it, yeah.
And everyone's fine. You just have to be honest about it. But there are sometimes, if it's a manager and a sales, if you have a manager and a salesperson, sometimes they got to move you.
Yeah, especially if you're working in the same department. Like, let's say, and this is not like this for the Celtics, but if you have in a normal business, you have, hey, I'm a manager over in business, and you are a rank and file, for lack of a better phrase, employee in finance. Yeah, we'll allow that to happen even though we have different job titles. But if I'm a manager in business and you're a rank and file employee in business, we're not going to let that happen. Because when the relationship ends, and it will inevitably end. Yes, it will. When the relationship ends, okay, what happens? Is retaliation a part of it? Am I going to be up for a promotion? Is it going to be an awkward workplace? It's going to be a hostile workplace. It's just too many unknowns for some businesses. Some businesses say, fine, disclose it and we're good. Other businesses say, we don't want it to happen.
All right, take a couple more calls here. We got Cameron. He's in Brockton. What's up, Cameron?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, Cameron.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about Alex Lyon, the goalie of the Sabres. I know a couple of years ago when the Bruins were playing Florida in the playoffs, he was a brick wall against them back then. I'm just kind of worried they're not going to be able to crack him this time around.
Turn your radio down.
Turn your radio down.
I haven't said that in a long time. I just wanted to.
Roll your windows up, turn your radio down.
Hey, Cam, turn that radio down.
No, Alex Lyon, he's good, I guess.
So he agrees with you that this is a real problem. Alex Lyon getting this hot this quickly.
Just that guy. That guy. If you're the Bruins, you don't want him in there. Like, hey, it was just an aberration. He just gave up a little fluke thing. It was a miscommunication. Morgan Geekie said he couldn't do that. If he tried to do that 100 times, he might make one other goal like that. It was a fluky thing. Put him back out here. Come on out.
How about this? Whoever wins Sunday, Game 4, I think is winning the series.
It's a hot take. Yeah. I like
lukewarm.
Your take, though.
They're like my steak and eggs over here. Very close to room temp.
I got the meats. I didn't eat any meat. Well, I guess chicken's not meat, but
it is.
Well, I guess it's meat. I have the meat sweats. I don't know. It could be the hot honey.
Do you want to take a walk?
No, I did.
Okay.
You did.
There's a cinnamon toast crunch cake out there if you want to try that. Nick had it, right? Thumbs up.
You ever get the cake chills?
No.
Yeah, they're not a thing.
I do get brain freeze, though.
Oh, yeah, brain freeze. Man. But, Don Darrow told us the other day he can avoid brain freeze. He slurps ice cream.
Yeah. Dundero's really is like, if you get him outside of like a hot sports takes because he curates all day. That's all he does. You ask him about something else, it's fascinating.
Yeah, slurps ice cream.
He's fascinating.
There's no popsicle headache or anything like that. It's just because he's learned to slurp it.
Because it just goes straight down his throat.
Yeah.
Doesn't stay there. Roof of your mouth is where you get in the trouble there.
I used to put my thumb under the top of my mouth, and that would help.
He learned this when he was covering, was it Mississippi, you said?
Yes.
In Mississippi,
Ole
he
Miss.
was covering somebody, some eating contest, and got a tip from one of the participants. This is how I'm able to do it. It was like it was an ice cream eating contest, which sounds crazy. An ice cream eating? Like, who can eat the most ice cream?
I got invited to a saugus wing eating contest this week, and they want me to be a competitive challenger, and I'm considering it.
Do you need anyone in your corner, a boxing ring? Like I could bring a towel, wipe your forehead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do those exist? If not, they should.
I get the sweats. So.
Yeah, I'm there.
All right.
Just as long as it's after the draft.
Food contest, cut man. Come
Yeah.
on, hey, listen. Yeah, this is what you're doing. Now, listen, I don't like your technique. You're leaning too much. You're leaning. Come on.
And I am curious.
Open up.
Wipe the fingers on the shirt on the
Yeah.
way down as you drop the bone.
Yeah. That's right.
One motion.
I like that. Before we get out of here, I want to know day 2 picks, if you got any. I know you and Barth kind of got together on something. So
Yeah, Barth and I had a draft on my podcast, 3rd annual Most Likely Patriots Draft Picks draft, and he has lost 1 pick. Mine are still available. Guys, I'm looking at Sam Roush.
I will do it on the other side. Pause. That's a big tease.
That's why it's 1 of 3. How about that? Sam Roush.
1 of 3 right there. And I have something on Mac Jones that I wanted to share before we get out of here. We'll get the final headline of the day, or one of the final headlines of the day, from Andrew Callahan, who stepped in. Thank you, sir. We'll take a quick break here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
The pick is in the pick.
2 in a week. We had never done it before. 2 in the same week. Good stuff.
Glad we paid off with a little bit of In a Pickle, so thanks again to them. Andrew Callahan, we got about 2 minutes. Give us your picks.
All right, day 2. Guys, I'm looking for the Patriots. I said his name before we got to break. Sam Roush, tight end from Stanford, 6'6", 265 pounds, one of the few guys that looks like your old school tight ends. They want one of those guys here in the draft. Oscar Delp, another one from Georgia, a little bit smaller, big-time athlete. Both guys should go on day 2. Zayshawn Stribling, your receiver from Ole Miss, he took a top 30 visit with the Patriots. I don't expect a whole lot for a receiver, but if he falls to maybe 95, he could be in consideration there. An edge is coming at some point tonight. Is it Zion Young from Missouri? Maybe not. R. Mason Thomas, close to my heart, another top 30 visitor. And then Kieran Crawford at Auburn, who has only been in football for about 5 years, has the Mike Vrabel relentlessness, the violence, and played a multifaceted role down there at Auburn, 6'3", about 260. So the physical prototype's there, the visit's there, the attitude. Those are the guys I'm looking for tonight.
Who's the best player, regardless of position, left in the available for tonight? Best player.
I think you're probably going with the corner, Jeremiah McCoy from Tennessee, there's big injury concerns there, and how much did he come back from the ACL?
How about the big guy from Ohio State, D-tackle?
Kane McDonald. Is that why we did this? So we could make...
No, I'm just asking. No, it's not
he's
Ohio
still available. I thought he'd be there for the Pats.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. I thought he'd be in consideration too, but they got their guy Lomu. So yeah, Cade McDonald is absolutely up there.
I learned a lot about Ohio State today.
I did too. It was almost too much for that hour with Breer in here.
Yeah. And Mike was actually playing it cool, I got to admit.
Yeah.
But he was definitely watching spring films.
Because there's news with another Ohio State guys that kind of took over.
Buckeyes stick together.
That's right.
I don't know.
Maybe not this week, actually.
I don't know.
Andrew Callahan, great job, man. Appreciate
Thank
you
sir.
stepping in today.
Awesome headline. A+ on the headline.
Honestly.
Callahan,
Great
A+.
job, man. I'm going to put a word into the bosses for you.
Well, I'm going to follow you to make sure you do that. That sounds great.
Ryan Beaton, Ryan Garvin, Nick Gemelli. I'm Joe Murray. Thanks, guys. We have McCone and Phil Perry and Barth.
Barth!
Next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Enjoy your week.